Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. And a 5 Balls Week Wednesday to you and yours. Online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. Sometimes you do. If you do, go back and get caught up. We'll post all 3 hours upon the conclusion of the show, both on our website and on iTunes, so you can easily find it. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Hello, YouTubers and Periscopers. Email the show if you like. JCS@979ESPNradio.com. Florida State falls last night over in Jacksonville, led the game against the University of Florida after 6 innings, but defensively they still can't pick up the baseball when it matters most to pick up the baseball. In addition to not being able to do that, they cannot beat the University of Florida. And so that is 10 straight losses now, this one 4-2. All of those runs were unearned. The pitching staff, for their part, goes a combined 9 innings, and they give up 0 earned runs, and they don't get a win. They only walk 3, they strike out 10, and they don't get a win. And at this point, it is nearly comical. It is somewhat laughable. You kind of run the range of emotions, sort of the gamut of emotions, right? Sometimes when you think about it, you laugh because it's such an absurdity, and it's so it's a unique set of circumstances where you're like, well, this is just dumb. What are we doing? It's like in half these games, Florida State has clearly looked like, for the better part of the game, the better team, but they never win the game, so they're not the better team. And when that happens, you kind of just throw your hands to the sky and say, well, I don't know. I guess this will continue until it doesn't. I don't know what to tell you. But also then when you think about it, you get angry and embarrassed that you're humiliated, around the state as we just traverse about and let Florida beat our ass every time. And you think, what a sorry way for a legend to go out. Because they probably won't win that game here in Tallahassee. They'll get swept for the year. They've already lost the series again. So he'll lose 11 straight times. Number 11 will lose 11 straight times to end his coaching career at Florida State to the University of Florida. It's embarrassing. It's pitiful. And it's a different group of kids, New ones come in, old ones leave. You think, all right, they won't be as cursed as those others. It's not the burden to somebody who's never played in the series. They don't know the weight or the magnitude of a moment like that. It won't get to them. They haven't experienced that before. But alas, it's not true, and they just keep losing. So it is confounding.
It is also still basketball season, and that's the real good news, is that at least we don't have to dwell on it too long, because the team's out in California once again for the Sweet 16 once again.
They beat Florida every year, too. They beat Florida's ass on the regular. They do it, and our soccer team does it. Other programs are able to beat Florida. We can't do it. Our golf team does. We just can't do it in baseball. But you're right. Obviously, the basketball team is the bigger story, the better story, the focus of Florida State fans everywhere. Speaking of major sports that get put on the back burner, it's not only baseball now where some apathy is set in. And many people feel like just a need to reset the whole thing. Let's move on. But it's football right now, too. They're in the midst of spring football, and nobody cares. There'll be 17 people at that spring game.
Especially if we're in Minneapolis, buddy.
Yeah. So it's about the basketball program right now, which continues to do great things and is a reason to be excited. And the return of Major League Baseball, which starts tomorrow. And, we can talk about a lot of things, but in particular, we can hyper-focus on the cool set of circumstances that sort of a confluence of events that merge to set up tomorrow, which I'll promote early and often on today's show. We'll be at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, meaning the show, beginning at 1 o'clock. It's a live court report, Tallahassee Game Day / Jeff Cameron Show, however you want to look at it, from 1 to 3 p.m. And there's a reason that we're not in our normal time slot, but we'll be live at the CP from 1 to 3, celebrating the return of Major League Baseball and the start of the season, opening day, if you will. And to celebrate that, $2 beers, $2 hot dogs, $2 apple pie specials, a little slice of Americana at the CP. We do it annually, as we welcome in opening day. We'll be talking about mainly basketball tomorrow from 1 to 3 while we're there, but we're doing all that to also make way for the Braves and their game against the Philadelphia Phillies. That game begins 3 o'clock on our airwaves. We figured it was a special set of circumstances, so you get the basketball, the build-up to our game tomorrow night, which can also be heard here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. You've got the return of Major League Baseball, and then, of course, you got the Braves right here on the airwaves. So what a glorious, glorious day we've got set forth for tomorrow.
It's going to be a full day, one of those where you rest your head on the pillow tomorrow night, and you'll know you've done a lot of things, especially if you join us out at the Corner Pocket for those $2 beers, $2 hot dogs, $2 slices of apple pie. But overall, I just hope that when we rest our head on the pillow tomorrow, it's knowing that we play another basketball game on Saturday.
You're going to go ahead and write that in?
No, I said I hope. I hope when we rest our head.
Sorry,
no,
yeah.
Because we'll sleep all the better.
Well, it's hard, too, because you race ahead. You begin to start to think about, hey, what's possible? I mean, this team could go to the Final Four potentially. And, I've said and will continue to say that this next game, is the one I'm more concerned about. And no matter who comes out victorious on the right side of things between Texas Tech and Michigan, I think this is the more formidable game. So I feel like if you can win this game, your percentage chances of going to the Final Four, not just because you're only one game away, but because of the matchup, really greatly increases of this dream coming true, right? We've been talking about sort of on the periphery every now and again the idea of going to the Final Four kind of all year long. Once they shook some injuries early season and got past that 1-4 start to conference play. And now you're this close to it, you can't help but think ahead to that.
Yeah, simply put, your percentage chance of beating Gonzaga is significantly less than either Michigan or Texas Tech.
In my mind, that's true.
Right.
Now, some people may disagree with me, and that's fine. I just, watching those teams, I feel like this is the tougher game.
Well, and if you look at the Vegas lines, too, when they were released for all the Sweet 16 games, we are tied for second in terms of the biggest underdog. Virginia Tech also was 7.5, and then I think Oregon was 8 or 8.5 point underdog to their respective opponent as we get ready for an awesome Sweet 16, too, just aside from Florida State's game, which will be the center of everything we focus on. But the one thing about chalk in the NCAA tournament's first weekend,
the games match really nicely.
Yes, it means the Sweet 16 is awesome, and the Elite Eight will be awesome also.
I've said for years that the Cinderella aspect of the tournament is a little bit of an overrated aspect of the tournament, that by and large you want the teams that have proven themselves to be the best teams in college basketball over a long season to match up and to have the powers in the game with the best players and the best coaching to face off against one another, save for the occasional darling that makes its way through the dance. I don't mind a team here or there that gets hot at the right time, gets an injured player back, has an endearing story or something like that, and goes on a run. I just don't want it to be chaos. A lot of people do. I don't like chaos because I like the evidence that's laid out before me over the course of 30 and 35 to 40 data points of evidence, as opposed to a weekend where somebody gets hot, or 3 games where everything's falling. And so usually I want those matchups that feature Goliaths, and we kind of get it this year. I mean, it doesn't bother me that it's mostly chalk.
No, it's the Friday lineup, too, that's awesome. And again, if we're a part of the Elite Eight or we are a part of the Final Four, it's not because we're a prohibitive underdog. A lot of analysts, I mean, a significant amount for being a 4 seed, as Florida State is, picked us to go to the Elite Eight or the Final Four. It wasn't like this cute thing as like, Florida State, wouldn't that be an amazing story? It was actually, some of the sharps are saying, well, look at the bracket. It sets up quite nicely for that 4 seed in the West. Florida State is quite good, folks. They're not talked about like the teams in the ACC are at the top 3 positions, but they're capable. They're every bit capable to do it.
Yeah,
and that's why it doesn't feel so strange to us to be talking about this openly. I think about it. It's been 2 shows this week for us, and then obviously yesterday on Headlines. It's not crazy to posit that. Whereas last year it felt a little bit strange.
Yeah, you wouldn't have done that. You would have just been along for the ride and laughed and said, hey, it's pretty amazing, but you would not have guessed that. Here you've thought it's possible. They're playing really well. Part of the problem, though, is, and some of the frustration I feel is that they're just not healthy, and they haven't been healthy all year long. And now we find out, Phil's not playing in this game. He would be a big part of defending the Clark kid. He's not out there. Now we find out that Nichols, who they thought earlier in the week was almost certainly going to be a go, they've changed that. Now they think he's most likely not going to be a go. you work hard to get to this point, and yet the injuries have begun to mount.
The wording from Leonard Hamilton earlier today when he was speaking to the media out in Anaheim was, I believe, doubtful at best. Doubtful is definitely the word he used, but David was hardly able to do anything on the court today as they were warming up out in California. And so
maybe we're playing possum.
I don't know. Maybe Phil will be there too. Maybe everybody's there.
No, I don't think
know.
So,
But you would like to have David in this game. But you know what? At least you didn't have him in the round of 32, so you could see the rotation the way it needs to be. Not that I'm saying Wyatt Wilkes is going to be stealing minutes for you against Gonzaga, but you've gotten a lot of minutes. And this is also what Leonard was doing, not for this emergency purpose.
Earlier in the year, yeah.
But when you have quite a few games where we're sitting in the stands kind of grabbing each other's forearm and saying, hey,
time to put the other guys that are good back in the game.
Dude, do you see? Look, look away from the vista that is the executive suite here, and look what's on the court. We need our best players in the game. What's going on? Well, okay,
he was
now,
building depth to that point.
Yes, he was building, which is where he wanted to be.
He is resilient. Despite, the mounting evidence that things are going south, he is resilient. We'll let him fight through it. Stay out there, young men. It'll be okay. It's not okay, Leonard. We're blowing a 12-point lead here with these stiffs.
It's down to 2.
Put the guys in.
They have the ball.
It'll be all right. We're going to stop. We're going to need this later on. I'd rather lose this game. Okay.
What a block by Gray. Nichols. And the lead's back to 4.
You're like, okay, all right. Guy must know what he's doing. I'll take it. Yeah, it is frustrating, though, because all season long we've had this, God, if they were just healthy. But maybe at some point you just stop saying it and realize they've been able to overcome that with relative ease all season long, even in the wake of, the news that, hey, so-and-so's not playing in this game, so-and-so's not 100% in this game. The other thing about that is if you can continue to win games, you do at some point, the way I understand it, get those guys back. Like Nichols, this would be the last game he'd have to miss. Kofor would join the team moving forward and be able to play. I don't know what he would be like emotionally. How could we? But he physically would be able to join the team and at least steal minutes for some people.
Well, in the interest of being objective, though, if you're looking at it and you want to be a little bit pessimistic, you could say, well, we played 2 patsies in the tournament. Now, was that an incredibly focused effort, as the coaching staff said on Saturday against Murray State?
Yeah.
Sure it was. But, about 15 minutes in, we saw who the better team was. Given the way we were rotating, I think the scout said, we're probably going to win. 98% chance we're going to win this NCAA tournament round 2 game. And then Vermont needed 16 threes to hang with us at all. So, okay, Gonzaga, a little bit of a different animal here. And if you're not at full operating efficiency, as you like to say, then, maybe we are, in fact, right to be 7-8 point underdogs in this game.
I have no problem with that number. Some people cite it as it being a little lopsided, a little high for a team that is playing as well as we are. But again, I don't have a problem with that, given that we are missing a key component to the team's defense, for one, and two, as part of the run that was made a year ago, and a key outside threat with the 3-point shot as well. So, that's tough to overcome. But they've overcome a lot, and so we're not going to sell them short. We're not going to sit here and say they won't do it. They've made us proud, and another opportunity again tomorrow. And I do like the feeling that you go into this game with not a lot to lose. I mean, I understand what's at stake. Going back to the Elite Eight would be something to really pound your chest about and be happy about. But at the same time, they did do what the seeding said they should have done, and they've gotten to the place that they should be, and they've taken care of their business, and they've been good now in a way that allows for, again, the narrative to shift, as I've said before, about the program and whether or not it's a destination program for recruits or the way you view it, certainly. I guarantee you this, next year, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, we got a game tomorrow, but big picture-wise, next year when they begin to print the preseason magazines or online articles about what the ACC is going to look like and what Florida State will or will not be, they'll probably garner more respect, maybe even than they deserve to some extent because
of what they lose.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's interesting. The analysts have spent a lot of time with Florida State saying 7th, 8th, 9th, things like that. I think now that's going to shift. You've been good enough long enough now in these 3 consecutive years to where I think they would look at it and say, listen, they get Trent Forrest back. I mean, that guy is such a difference maker with the ball in his hand running this offense. Obviously, we know what he does defensively, and he'll be healthy next year, knock on wood. And then we've seen the emergence of a Vassell and a Raekwon Gray and some of the others. And obviously, at some point, MJ Walker, the light bulb's going to go off, and we'll get some consistency out of him. But there's enough of this core coming back to believe that there's certainly going to be a handful within the ACC. But again, you go to the Sweet 16 2 years in a row or better. You win at least one tournament game 3 years in a row. And again, you've put guys into the pros, and you've got the projections of others that are going to be on their way to the pros. See Cobb and Gelly. If he comes back, obviously, what a big deal that is. They'll be thought of really highly going into next season.
I think you're at a weird intersection here this year where obviously the coaching staff, and it's well documented, the coaching staff and the players, that they don't care that they've achieved a Sweet 16. They don't care at all about that. They're not out there happy to be in Anaheim.
Now, that's a fan's job. Coaches are
Correct.
focused on winning the next game, and also they believe, and this is exciting to know that they believe this, they preach this, talk about this, and refuse to accept your adoration in that way, that they're capable of winning the whole thing.
But I think for a fan base that was, tickled last year to make it to the Sweet 16 and is also this year really excited to be in the Sweet 16 and largely pleased, whatever else you do is gravy. I think next year you start dealing with expectations, higher expectations, that you should finish in the top 5 or 6 in the ACC, that you shouldn't just win one game in the tournament. That Sweet 16 is kind of what we do now. That might be unfair, but guess what? That's what happens when you make 3 tournaments in a row and you win at least 6 games over those 2 years. Or over those 3 years, excuse me.
Yeah.
And it could be 7 if we win tomorrow night.
Speaking of expectations and not being a victim of your own success and building to something bigger, Mark Krikorian will join us in the 5 o'clock hour today. Of course, he is the head coach for Florida State Soccer, the reigning national champions, and he's a guy that has done just that in his 14 years here in Tallahassee. He's put together a juggernaut. And he has seen them not just win championships, but they're basically an annual participant in the College Cup. They go to the Final Four, if you will, for lack of a better term, which is the College Cup, and they're a team that finishes in the top 10 literally every year. So their bad years are like finish number 9. That's where they are now. And the expectation is year in and year out that they're going to compete to win ACC titles and to go to play in the College Cup and maybe win a national championship. And we'll ask him about that. He'll join us in the 5 o'clock hour. I look forward to it. Plus, there's a special event coming up on Sunday, April the 7th, which we're going to promote. So we'll kind of do a dual thing here. I'll talk to him about the process of building a dynasty like he has here in Tallahassee, but also about this event Sunday, April the 7th, Kicking It for Autism, which does so much good, and how you can be a part of and get out there, play a little soccer with some of the game's best. It's a little soccer clinic, learn some skills or sharpen some existing skills, whatever it might be, all levels. That's the way it works. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Get a new Kawasaki today and we'll pay the tax. Deep South Kawasaki, located on US 19 South in Thomasville. Read your owner's manuals and all product warnings. Kawasaki ATVs with engines of 90 cc's and above are recommended for use by persons 16 years or older. Kawasaki also recommends that all ATV riders take a training course.
Seminoles, it's 2019 and a new football season is amongst us. It's a new day, and we have an opportunity to build this program back to where it belongs, together. Every day we get one step faster, one rep stronger. The journey to the top includes you. We are one tribe together, and we remain unconquered. We need you in Doak Campbell Stadium this fall, and that begins by getting season tickets now. Visit us online at Seminoles.com or call 1-888-FSU-NOLE and get ready to hear
Touchdown, Florida State!
Very soon.
Yuengling Golden Pilsner, a highly sessionable beer, golden in both name and color. Yuengling Golden Pilsner is the perfect balance of hop and malt character for crisp and smooth thirst-quenching refreshment. Cheer for your garnet and gold with Yuengling Golden Pilsner. Yuengling, brewing good times for 190 years. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Triangle Sales.
Hey, this is Jeff Doxey, representing Premier Fine Homes. I'm proud to announce Premier's newest community, Brookside Village. Brookside has the great schools you want, some larger home sites, and is conveniently located on Ox Bottom Road between Ox Bottom Manor and Moore Pond. Call or text me today at 545-4747 or email me at jeffdoxey1@gmail.com. Remember, before you buy, try me at Brookside.
Ready for low prices today and every game day? Time for a Target run. Find everything you need for a great game day gathering. Bring home tasty Archer Farms frozen pizzas and soda. And for an extra easy post-game cleanup, grab some up-and-up paper towels, plates, and solo cups, all priced right daily with low prices today and every day. Get in, out, and on your way to tip-off. Target run and done.
The Deck Pizza Pub in downtown Tallahassee salutes the men's basketball team for making the round of 16. From the folks who brought you Metro Deli, the Deck Pizza Pub, 224 East College Avenue in downtown Tallahassee. Online at deckpizzapub.com. Go Noles!
Hendrick.
It's the one race that everyone wins. Find new roads at the first annual Dale Earnhardt Jr. Race to 500. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet has to sell 500 cars now through April 30th. So start your engines, the gas, and save big. Shop our huge selection of Chevrolet cars, trucks, and SUVs, and get the biggest savings of the year. Join the race that everyone wins. Visit either of our 2 Tallahassee locations or DaleEarnhardtJr.Chevy.com.
Escúchame, y dice Dan Levatar Show on ESPN Radio.
Colin Cowherd said nothing against Mike Trout, but if he was at a mall in Los Angeles, no one would know. Congratulations on being rich and irrelevant. And Eric O'Flaherty, the Braves pitcher, responds, if Mike Trout got tatted up, bleached his hair, threw on a gold chain, pimped every home run, and had an affair with an Instagram model, he would be 10 times more famous and recognizable at the ball. Maybe he's not the problem here. Maybe we pay too much attention to Bleep Hole.
That's great. No, that's great because he's absolutely right. And first of all, Mike Trout may not be recognized in a mall in Miami, but in L.A., he's going to be recognized by virtually everybody.
I'm not so certain about that, Stan.
The Dan Levatar Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Join the FSU Autism Institute on Sunday, April 7th from 1 to 4:30 p.m. for their 3rd annual Kickin' It for Autism Soccer Clinic in partnership with the FSU soccer team and coaches. This is an event for all ages and abilities. Net proceeds from this event will benefit the FSU Autism Institute. For more information, please visit fsucard.com. 97.9 ESPN Radio is a proud partner of the Kickin' It for Autism Soccer Clinic.
Front Row Knowles, featuring Tom Block and Keith Jones, is brought to you by Hobson Chevrolet in Cairo, Georgia. Get your best deal the Hobson way. Catch Front Row Knowles every Wednesday night at 6, right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
At Jay Cameron Show, can Big Daddy Jay make an appearance today for some Major League Baseball futures win totals? I've been compiling my win totals lately. I will. I'll give you some maybe later in the show, maybe tomorrow.
It is that time of year too for Big Daddy Jay. This is when it originated, right, for hockey, because it's playoff season, and that's usually when the games are a little bit more.
That is when it happened.
Gettable.
Yeah. That is true. It's time to bring him back on a more consistent basis. He's been around. He's been lingering, hovering. Occasionally, he'll make an appearance late in the show, impromptu.
Hot damn, Big Daddy's done it again.
But I'll have to get focused, Tom. It's about that time. You locked in and ready to go for the playoffs? You've probably been waiting for months. I mean, Lord, the Lightning proved they were the best team in the regular season long ago. they're bored also. I mean, you about ready to let's get it on.
And doing a weekly podcast on JoeBucksFan.com for the Lightning, it is challenging to talk about all of these wins. How do you keep it interesting?
Another ass-kicking week for the Lightning. Like, thanks for listening, everybody.
Talk to you next week.
Yeah.
Sponsor mention goodbye.
Yeah, win a bunch more games, and we'll talk about those ass-kickings as well.
But I'm pretty locked in on how these teams are playing, too, as we enter the postseason. So if Big Daddy's got a small council, I want on.
Oh, I like it. Absolutely. We're in this together. At Jay Cameron Show, what if it's an all-ACC Final Four? They would lose their mind. They being the rest of the nation that certainly does not approve. Ordinarily, I would tell you this. I don't know that, listen, if we were... This is weird, right? When you wear the colors, when you decide to fly the ACC flag and when you don't. When you're part of the reason that it's the strongest conference in the country, then you probably note that they're against the ACC. When we are screwed by the ACC because we're an outsider in football and we can't get a call and the triangle hates us, we join the rest of the nation in their disdain for the ACC. It just shifts during seasons, right? During football season, it's a coupled hatred or a married hatred of the other Power 5 conferences not named the SEC that people at the four-letter network drool over. And in basketball season, I guarantee you, James, the rest of the country goes, enough about the ACC. Jesus, it's like nobody else plays basketball. And then just segue on into football, and you'll hear everybody go, especially folks in the ACC, oh, my God, with the SEC, can you stop it already? There's one good team.
You play basketball, but we play basketball.
Well, it's funny because there's a show, various shows that I've heard on a certain network, and they will reference betting information amongst other things, and sometimes they'll try to incorporate officials when they're talking about Duke or North Carolina. And it makes me laugh because they'll say, well, you got to factor in the officiating. You know, Duke is going to get a couple of crucial calls. So if you're looking at the line, remember that. I mean, that's how big the conspiracy goes, right? Even in a tournament where they're not ACC refs.
That's correct.
They're like, well, you know, again, Duke's going to get the calls in a big game. And it's funny when that happens, when you hear people say that. By the way, I don't believe that to be true. I do believe it to be true within the ACC. I think that the cachet, obviously the status of one Coach Krzyzewski has an undue influence, whether the officials realize it or not, in ACC games. I don't think that carries over nationally, no.
I think it does if the opponent is Tier 2. I think
well, screw them.
If you get to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, let's just say Duke plays Texas Tech or Auburn or Florida State. Well, Texas Tech
doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt, so I'm with the officials in that case.
Florida State, Auburn.
Well, now, hang on.
Oregon.
Yeah, nobody cares about Oregon.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, well, that's where they're going to get the calls. But if it's Duke, North Carolina in the Final Four or the championship game, or if it's Duke versus
everybody is very excited about that
Kentucky matchup. Or, you know, maybe even Tennessee this year, I don't know. They might be too new to the party to get the calls. But you get my point.
But if Duke is playing, say, I mean, I watched the Gonzaga-Duke game earlier this year, and that was really well officiated, and Gonzaga got the benefit of the doubt, and I thought those two were, was evenly officiated. I think it would be that way if they were playing Villanova, Kansas, Kentucky, obviously North Carolina within the ACC and a few others, maybe Virginia and a couple others. But, I don't know. And I think most of that it's not an active bias. I just don't think they realize they do it sometimes. I think that, Deion Sanders, Jerry Rice, Michael Jordan, we can go sport to sport to sport where legends live, and those guys always got the benefit of the doubt. They just always did. I mean, at this point, James Harden can take 17 steps before taking a shot, and he's going to not get called for travel. I mean, we've seen some pretty – by the way, the league has got to get a handle on traveling. It all began when we allowed the hop step. After the hop step, you had the Euro step. Now, 4 or 5 steps is the norm. It's silly what they let guys get away with in the league.
It's like that LSU runner from the baseline against Maryland over the weekend. That kid took 4 steps. Legit 4. Man, it's a tie ball game, man. I kind of need that.
But to your point, if you're not going to call the travel all game, then you can't call it there.
Well, I think 4 steps they might have called during the game. I didn't pay attention to how many 4-steppers they let go, but they certainly did.
Well, the league lets 4-steppers go on the regular. It's crazy.
1.6 is left on the clock after he makes it. I mean, I can't advance the ball in college, so thanks. In the NBA, at least you can advance it and cheat.
Yeah.
See, they're doing that in the women's game, too? I mean, they got the quarters. I know they've adopted that years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they adopted advancing the ball with the timeout.
It works 2 ways, too, though. One thing, when you talk about – you mentioned the Vermont game earlier. And they're making 16 threes. And you're like, well, when you watch a normal game, if you watch an NBA game, you can see what's sustainable and what's not. And you'll go, well, they're not getting any paint touches. They're not scoring in the lane. This isn't sustainable. And the game is longer for starters. So the chances that is sustained for longer is unlikely, right? It's not going to continue to happen. And the corner method helps that out too. It ends momentum and changes all of that. In the college game, you might luck up and fake your way through a win that you don't deserve because you hit a bunch of threes and it's set up the way that it is, right? And so I have a love-hate thing with the quarters and the difference in length.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The quarters build in a little bit more of time to think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your substitution patterns would be different. Your best players on the court.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I I'm torn on that.
Well, I mean, the men's game is the only one that's left. It's interesting. I don't know what that would be like. A TV timeout structure would be different. Length of games probably are a little bit different. But then how you assess your bonus situations and all that, it's probably too in the weeds for a Sweet 16 week when we're still playing 40-minute games with 20-minute halves. But it is interesting. I wonder if the men's game thinks about changing that at any point.
Probably. I mean, everybody else has. I think they probably will. Yeah. I think about it a lot when Vermont's hitting 16 threes. That's what I think. I'm like, hey, man. We need to stop this here. This is ridiculous. All kinds of lucking up. Back to my point about the league, though. I try to tell my kids, this is funny. I told you I put up a hoop, and we play all the time now. So it's great. It reminds me of my childhood. I am, knee-deep in nostalgia. Because when I would come home from school, when it wasn't a season in which I was involved in a sport, which was rare, but certainly, I say over the summer, I would shoot for hours. My affinity for the boom box, the hoop, and scenarios dreamt in my head about me hitting big shots or missing big shots or whatever make-believe scenario I could put together, I would do that for hours. I'd get in trouble. My mom would be like, I've asked you to come in 3 times for dinner. Let's go wash your hands and let's go eat. Because I'd shoot for hours. And now my boys like to try to beat me. They either team up and try to beat me, and I don't let them win, so it still hasn't happened, and they get frustrated, but they keep wanting more. Or they try to beat me in horse or something like that, right? And Clark is the more competitive of my 2 kids. And he will play 6, 7, 8 games in a row. And it is hilarious to watch the frustration building and the scenarios. Why was I bringing this up?
Something about the league.
Yeah, so the league. Okay. So the other day we were playing one-on-one. And when it's little Clark, and he's 8, I give him a little bit more leeway. I'll let him get his shot off. I'm not going to swat. I mean, I've got a heart. I mean, he'll get his shot off. I'll just put a hand
Unless the game's tied somehow.
Yeah, then it gets thrown into next week. But anyhow, he took 4 or 5 steps. I said, son, I've told you this. You can't take 4 steps before your shot. I may let you slide with 3. I may give you the Euro step. I'm not giving you 4 or 5. There are rules here, man. We can't just throw the rules out because you're mad at Dad's height. So I didn't take 4 steps. You took at least 4 steps. Enough for me to say, okay, I'm calling that. I don't even take the ball. I don't even take possession of the ball. I just make him check again at the top and go, we're not doing 4 steps. I'm putting it into it. So the next day, every morning when we get up, I fix them breakfast and we watch SportsCenter highlights. And they beg to differ about how many steps you can take when they watch the NBA highlights. They're like, Dad, how many steps do you think that guy took? It looked like 6, son. Mm-hmm. It did, didn't it? Yeah, they're now like pointing out, how many steps did he take? Well, that was 3. That was 2 and a hop step. Rewind it, Dad. Rewind it and tell me how many steps he took after he picked up his dribble. And it's unbelievable. The league has decided traveling does not exist.
Dad, hit pause and fast forward one time so I can watch this in slow motion, please.
It's awesome when it happens.
Not full speed. No,
let's
slow
watch
down.
it. Let's watch it.
And let's discuss it.
How many steps you think he took there, Dad? Looks like 4, doesn't it? Yeah, they've gotten to where they'll call me on it now. But it's sad that we're at that point where you can watch a highlight and go, that shot should have never counted. My man took 6 steps. There was one earlier this year where Durant took like 8 steps.
Yeah, that's I remember that.
What are we doing?
Well, my dad can't get past it. He'll be like, all right, let's sit down. He walked. I can't do this. I got to go. No. He walked again.
I'm not that old school.
He's that old school.
Well, then how did he watch
1.5?
How did he watch Patrick Ewing? That guy walked more than anybody
He
in
was
the
done
history
by
of the game.
He was done by about Jordan. He's like, they're giving everybody an extra step now. I can't do this.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Now, Gordo Smash. Those are the reasons you always come back.
You were all in on that singing.
And I dance, too.
No, not necessary.
Watch.
All right. Off the bar, Eddie.
No, watch.
And the tapping?
Oh.
Sweet Jesus, Eddie, are you all right?
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Gordo's, where Eddie will dance on the bar. In baseball. Yay, baseball. In Gordo's.
Seminoles, it's 2019 and a new football season is amongst us. It's a new day, and we have an opportunity to build this program back to where it belongs, together. Every day we get one step faster, one rep stronger. The journey to the top includes you. We are one tribe together, and we remain unconquered. We need you in Doak Campbell Stadium this fall, and that begins by getting season tickets now. Visit us online at Seminoles.com or call 1-888-FSU-NOLE and get ready to hear
Touchdown, Florida State!
Very soon.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Hey, I'm Jeff Doxey, Realtor for Capital Property Consultants, representing Premier Fine Homes. If you're thinking of owning your own brand new Premier home, call or text me at 850-545-4747 or email me, jeffdoxey1@gmail.com. You say where, I'll be there. Your Canopy Connection.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Hi, Chris Kraft for the all-new Infinity of Tallahassee, the newest Kraft Brothers dealership. As we get ready to break ground on the new Kraft Infinity store, Peter and I thought, why not have a founding 50 with lots of cool stuff for 50 special buyers? And when we say special benefits, we mean it. Here's just some of what you'll get. Free lifetime oil changes, free lifetime powertrain warranty, and free gas fill-up with factory-scheduled maintenance. I told you this was special, and there's more. Free car wash and loaner cars, a gold license plate frame, and a commemorative brick at our new store. Plus, my favorite, the white glove treatment with front-of-the-line service priority. It's Tallahassee's first truly VIP car buying and servicing experience. So if you're in the market for a luxury vehicle, you need to look at Infinity of Tallahassee. Seriously, no haggle pricing, and every time you come in for factory-scheduled maintenance, we change your oil for free, wash your car, and even fill it up with gas. It's Infinity of Tallahassee's founding 50, so prepare to be pampered. Infinity of Tallahassee, 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast, next to Ted's Montana Grill.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. After 11 years in the NFL, the first 10 with the Green Bay Packers, wideout Jordy Nelson is retiring. Nelson was cut by the Raiders 2 weeks ago. He played on the Super Bowl 45 championship team in Green Bay. After a controversial non-call in the NFC Championship game, pass interference penalties will now be reviewable next season on a one-year trial basis. ESPN's Teddy Bruschi.
They had to do something so that could never happen again, because that was something that, everyone was right in terms of having the outrage about that call that flag should have been thrown. So thinking about the penalty, which is pass interference, when the calls and non-calls, this is a penalty that can span as long as where it's a spot foul. It can be 40, it can be 50 yards, it can be 60 yards, however a quarterback can throw it and where that penalty occurs. I think that type of call with that type of effect on a game, calls and non-calls, I think it's the right thing to do.
Teddy Bruschi on Golick and Wingo. USA Today Sports is reporting the new Alliance of American Football is in danger of folding unless they get help from the NFL Players Association. Tom Dundon, the majority owner of the AAF, says the NFLPA so far is not allowing the league to use young NFL players to further their development. Bucks rookie guard Dante DiVincenzo will miss the rest of the NBA season with bursitis in his right foot. DiVincenzo was the MVP of last year's Final Four with Villanova. The student section entrance at Purdue's Ross-Ade Stadium will soon have a memorial gate honoring the memory of Tyler Trent. Trent was a Purdue superfan and cancer activist who died on New Year's Day at age 20.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Balls McWednesday, brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com.
Certainly not a surprise to hear the AAF is in jeopardy of folding. It pretty much sucks if you watch it. The games aren't entertaining. The level of play is poor. And it's at a time of year when nobody cares about football. It's the one time at all that you don't have to think about football. I know in college you have spring football game. It's fleeting. It's a reason to get together and tailgate with friends that you haven't seen since football season ended. You're really not even all that interested in the football. It's more about the celebration of the time of year that it is, meaning the weather, and the friends you haven't seen. That's my belief about spring football anyhow. I mean, you care. You want to make sure nobody gets hurt, and you want to hear about the newcomers, but you're not locked in the way that you would need to be to sustain a league, to have the kind of participation and active not only attendance, but week-to-week commitment. It just doesn't seem to be something that appeals to people, spring football, that is. And I don't, I've told you before, Tom, that when I think about the games that I love and that I grew up with, there's very distinct seasons in my mind, and I flip that switch when it's time to flip that switch, and not before or not after, really. I have gotten a little bit, I'm probably the opposite of the American sports fan these days. Probably has something to do with my age at 47. But I do think a little bit more about baseball in the build-up to the start of the season and just after the season when moves are being made than I used to. I can find myself drifting over to MLB Network a little bit more frequently than I would, say, for an NBA or college basketball show or NFL show, NFL Network, or really any league for that matter. And so baseball has been able to grab a little bit more of my attention when it's not in season than the other sports, but I know I'm an outlier because actually baseball is struggling in that regard, and they need to grab more people like me and find a way to find those people that they're grabbing to be, younger than me. So I accept that, but by and large, even since I was a kid, even when the USFL was doing okay before Trump ruined it, I liked the time that I spent with my father at Tampa Bay Bandits games, but I didn't feel the same way about those games, and obviously from attendance standpoint, either did anybody else, that you do about an NFL season or a college football season. Your mind, it's shaped when you're a kid about when the seasons happen, and that is really unshakable.
It's Howard Cosell, I think, that posited that in the future football would just be a studio television game. And for that reason, it would just be televised and that's it. Don't worry about stadiums. It's just going to be one big TV product. And that was, on the heels of Monday Night Football's amazing success. And he thought, someday, we're just going to cut the middleman out. You don't have to drive. You just watch in your home.
We're getting closer.
Well,
perhaps.
Here's my point. Maybe the answer is something along the lines of a season that runs May through July. It's an indoor game, and you just get attached to the teams that you see on TV, and it's, I don't know, a 4 and 8 team league, but all you compete with is baseball. It's so hard right now. There's so much going on. This time of year, combined with October, are the two busiest times in the sports calendar when you've got all the major sports going on and you have some that are coming to a crescendo and some that are just beginning. So the World Series, of course, occurs right in the middle of both football seasons, and now college football is one of the big players across the country. But then you have basketball and hockey starting up. Right now, you've got the basketball stretch run. It's more interesting than it has been in past years because it's not as clear-cut.
Yeah.
For NBA fans.
Yeah.
But, you're trying to win those people over. You're trying to win people over in every sector of the country who care about all kinds of different things.
I don't think you can.
But March Madness, of course, everybody has a lot of people's attention.
The upcoming Masters.
Golf has more people's attention. Obviously, now the Tiger's back. But in general, the Florida Swing and the Masters do quite well. You've got the Stanley Cup playoffs, which is the only thing that hockey does when you're talking about, getting
the casual.
You're trying to get any rating whatsoever. Yeah, this is the time of year for that. But you've got nothing to compete with except baseball if you do it in the dead of summer. And maybe people are ready for football and starving for football at that point.
I just don't think they are. I believe that would have happened by now. It's been attempted in several different ways, and it's just never panned out that way. I think people want a respite from their sports. They want to be able to move on and return. You're already, and the NFL has done a very good job of this, you're already inundated with NFL 365 days a year. The league sought to capture headlines for each of the calendar months. They never used to be able to do that, and then they did a lot of different things to help make inroads in those months in which they were dormant or stories about the league were dormant. And that was smart. I think that was a good idea. Obviously you want to be top of mind as much as possible, but in terms of actually sitting down and digesting a game and watching the strategy of a game, we've largely, there are entire segments, and I'm not making fun of millennials, but I would point to this group as one that has grown up with obviously the Red Zone channel and fantasy sports, and the need to actually watch a game is no longer the draw. They'll watch their fantasy numbers. They'll watch highlights going on simultaneously around the league, but they're not actually watching how a game plays out, how we arrive at that place in the fourth quarter where it's 21-17. They don't know how we got there. They just know, oh, it's a close game. They're in the red zone. To watch a football game in the dead of summer, you have to be invested. You have to care enough to go. You have to do all of those things. It's a pain in the ass, and I don't think people care because they know it's a substandard product.
Well, that's the hard part, is overcoming the idea of it being a substandard product. So even though the Alliance of American Football has a knee bent to the NFL, it's still, the NFL doesn't give it enough help that it can get it over the top.
No, but also football's not charming. Baseball's charming. You'll watch a minor league baseball game because of the pace of a minor league baseball game, or any baseball game for that matter, because of the quality time you get to spend with the people you're with at the ballpark. There is no such thing as quality time necessarily spent at a football game. The tailgate, yes. Post-game, maybe. In-game, it's rabid. It's intense, and it has a draw for that reason. And that's where FSU and so many other universities or professional franchises that are losing out on attendance are trying to draw from that well of emotion. They're trying to tell you, listen, you could sit home and the amenities are better. I get it. The air conditioning's nice when it's 98 and humid outside. I get it that you don't have to deal with strangers whom you probably loathe. And yes, you don't have to interact with people that you'd rather not, and the parking and the expenses and all that. But, man, there ain't nothing like a tight game against a rival. The energy in the stadium that you feed off of, that intensity that we speak of, that can't be replicated at home. And they're right about that, and hence their commercials and the angles in which they promote that to get you off the couch. But you need a break from that. That's why football is only a 16-game season in the NFL, and shorter than that in college. You can't do that for a long stretch of time, and you like the break that summer provides.
And that's why we're building a water park outside Doak Campbell Stadium.
Well, I mean, and now if that's a larger discussion in general, where Florida State has a unique problem that very few schools and programs have to deal with or suffer from, and that is location. Again, if Clemson weren't any good in a given year, that might be frustrating for diehard Clemson fans, but they wouldn't be so hesitant to go to a game if they lived in Atlanta because they're 2 hours away. Ain't nothing all that close to Tallahassee, and it's hard to get here, and you're not going to spend that much money so that you can come up and watch Florida State in a tie game in the fourth quarter against Northern Illinois. The only thing that fixes that is wins.
And it all comes back to the offensive line. And how good is the offensive line?
Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
The days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
I know you know this, and you probably have already suggested it, and maybe she's already had it. But, Tom, I'm bringing your girlfriend into the fold to talk about Bumpa's Local 3.0.
Don't you bring her in here.
I'm telling you now that she would love the ahi salad.
Oh, yes.
Did I get it right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
that was
delicious.
That was the first thing she ever tried, and now anytime we are in the neighborhood, which is, a capital circle right between I-10 and Centerville.
You're giving the people the location for Bumpa's Local 349.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I like it.
Yes.
They have delicious food. I like tacos. You can't screw up tacos, but they do really good tacos.
I am a big fan of the Uncle Sal because the Uncle Sal is sausage, peppers, and onions. You can't go wrong with that trio, man.
You like the peppers and onions more than I do.
It must be like a New York thing. I don't know. Everybody's a little bit Italian because they're coming from New York, because the peppers and onions isn't exactly Irish
I like
cuisine.
it when they're cooked up like that.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
like
hard to beat. A little mustard?
Yeah. I'm forever going to champion the wings and the Cobb salad. It's Bumpa's Local 349. They got live music. They've got a number of televisions and, of course, tasty beverages, man. Good stuff.
Change your oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles for a longer-lasting engine and better gas mileage. Change your oil at Superlube today, and for a limited time, you'll get a free car wash. Right now at Superlube, you never need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area locations, there's a Superlube just minutes away right now.
Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car. Yes, sir.
Hendrick. Find new roads at the first annual Dale Earnhardt Jr. Race to 500. Shop our huge selection and get the biggest savings of the year. Everyone wins. Visit either of our 2 Tallahassee locations or DaleEarnhardtJr.Chevy.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Yuengling Golden Pilsner, a highly sessionable beer, golden in both name and color. Yuengling Golden Pilsner is the perfect balance of hop and malt character for crisp and smooth thirst-quenching refreshment. Cheer for your garnet and gold with Yuengling Golden Pilsner. Yuengling, brewing good times for 190 years. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Triangle Sales.
Whidden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Whidden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Whidden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whidden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Whidden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split 1 order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on ThursdaysInCollegetown.com.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. After 11 years in the NFL, the first 10 with the Green Bay Packers, wideout Jordy Nelson is retiring. Nelson was cut by the Raiders 2 weeks ago. He played on the Super Bowl 45 championship team in Green Bay. After a controversial non-call in the NFC championship game, pass interference penalties will now be reviewable next season on a 1-year trial basis. ESPN's Teddy Bruschi.
They had to do something so that could never happen again, because that was something that, everyone was right in terms of having the outrage about that call that flag should have been thrown. So thinking about the penalty, which is pass interference when the calls and non-calls, this is a penalty that can span as long as where it's a spot foul. It can be 40, it can be 50 yards, it can be 60 yards, however a quarterback can throw it and where that penalty occurs. I think that type of call with that type of effect on a game, calls and non-calls, I think it's the right thing to do.
Teddy Bruschi on Golick and Wingo. USA Today Sports is reporting the new Alliance of American Football is in danger of folding unless they get help from the NFL Players Association. Tom Dundon, the majority owner of the AAF, says the NFLPA so far is not allowing the league to use young NFL players to further their development. Bucks rookie guard Dante DiVincenzo will miss the rest of the NBA season with bursitis in his right foot. DiVincenzo was the MVP of last year's Final Four with Villanova. The student section entrance at Purdue's Ross-Ade Stadium will soon have a memorial gate honoring the memory of Tyler Trent. Trent was a Purdue superfan and cancer activist who died on New Year's Day at age 20.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Balls McWednesday, brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go, of course, to listen live via the streaming free always. Man, oh man, tomorrow's going to be awesome. But, Jeff, it's today. It's Wednesday. You're here now. You should probably talk about how awesome today is. Today's not awesome. Today's just a day that gets us to tomorrow, which is going to be awesome. Because I'm antsy, and so are you, and I don't care to talk about our baseball team that can't beat Florida, and you probably don't want to hear it. So we have to bridge the gap, find a way to get excited and carry it over till tomorrow, when today is just sort of a whetting the appetite. Tomorrow, my friends, we'll be at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. We're going to combine the start of the Major League Baseball season with the local NCAA tournament coverage that we have for you here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. We'll have a special live edition of Tallahassee Game Day. It's a court report live, again, from the Corner Pocket, 1 to 3 p.m. Then we're going to sit back and watch baseball, and that'll be cool. There's going to be $2 beer, $2 hot dogs, apple pie specials to boot. Who doesn't like apple pie? All of that to celebrate baseball in the build-up to that night's action on the hardwood. If you don't know where the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is, 2475 Appalachian Parkway next to Earth Fair. And, win that game, how excited will you be? Well, last year we were just kind of carrying on and taking what we were getting there, and each upset kind of surprised. Now there are expectations. Now there are real thoughts of what's possible, maybe a Final Four berth. And so when you sit down to watch a game in which you have expectations and worry that they won't be met, you get nervous. Everything was it was a simpler time a year ago. Mm-hmm. Now it gets a little bit tricky because you can see that there's a real distinct possibility that this team is good enough. Dare I say good enough to win it all? I don't know that I believe that. They're certainly not the favorites to win it all. Could they? Yes, but the percentage chance that they win the whole damn thing, pretty small. Win this game? I think they got a very good chance to win this game. I think it's understandable that they are indeed an underdog in this game, but I think they got a real good chance. They're a tough group, and I think that if they are to win this game, then maybe the Final Four is a very real possibility, not just because you're a game away, but I like the matchup against either Michigan or Texas Tech, and if that's the case, my goodness gracious, just think about how far this program has come to where you go last year to an Elite Eight and then maybe a run to the Final Four the following year. Got to soak it in. These are heady times for FSU basketball. This is not something historically this program has been able to do. In fact, it's just not something it does, and it's not something the fans expect it to do. It's quite the opposite currently of Florida State baseball, where in Florida State baseball's history, because of its many successes, sustained successes over decades worth of work, you expect so much more than what you're getting in this series against Florida. And that's what's happened. That's what's happened every time we take the field, like we did last night against UF. You appear to be maybe a better team, but you don't really feel like, as fans, you're going to win the game. And then the team implodes, as they did again last night. How about a pitching staff last night who is that good, gives up 0 earned runs, and you can't get a win? And how many times are we going to take it to the 6th or 7th inning with a lead, only to watch the defense forsake us? And you know, if you listen to this show, that the one thing I can't stand, I understand baseball being baseball. I understand that sometimes you play well and you lose. I understand sometimes you make a great pitch and a kid gets lucky. It's off the end of the bat and it drops. That's baseball. The sport itself can be downright cruel. And Florida State has been on the wrong end of the cruelty of baseball many times. But given the nature of the sport, I can live with that. What I can't live with is when you can't pick up the ball. And when we have what we have currently in these games against Florida, in which errors are by and large the culprit, it's unwatchable. It's unwatchable. It makes us look like a Little League team. That's not even a very good Florida team. But we will, at some point in this rivalry right now, going the way that it is, refuse to pick up the ball and cost ourselves a game, in particular a game against Florida. Every freaking time. And honestly, the weird thing here is obviously nobody's trying to make errors, but I don't care. They are. And I know the coaches don't teach them poor technique. I know they're not taught to make these errors. I know that they're trying everything in their power to end this ridiculous losing streak to Florida, which is now up to 10. The overall dominance for Florida in the last 20 games is also something we don't want to talk about, but let's just point to the 10 straight we've lost. I get it. I'm sure they've done everything under the sun. Played it loosey-goosey, rocking music in the clubhouse. Hey, relax, have fun. It's just another day at the ball yard, baby. Another chance to play baseball. Isn't that great? That's a beautiful thing about this game. If it doesn't work out for you last time, you'll get another shot, get another game tomorrow. It'll be okay. And then I'm sure they've also tried to throw the book at them. I'm sure they've tipped over tables and questioned their toughness, their mental fortitude, the resiliency of the club, whatever it might be, and everything in between, and it hasn't mattered. But one thing seems to be constant, which is that they can't pick up the ball in moments that they need to pick up the ball against Florida. And there's no, what would you say? You wouldn't have to be a Hall of Fame manager, coach, assistant coach. You wouldn't have to have the greatest baseball IQ of all time or the least. It wouldn't matter at this point. It's become a thing. It's something bigger than the game. It's different than instruction. It's bigger than a hand placement or a shift. It's bigger than an anticipatory step or an execution of a double play. It's bigger than that. It's become this other thing. And it's really, oddly, something to marvel at. I hate being on the wrong end of it.
I think this year it's taken its own, it's taken a new life just because of the manner in which you've lost these two games and the level at which Florida's playing.
They're playing poorly, yeah.
Well, for the beginning of this run, that's just a better program.
Yeah.
It's just a better program. They've got more arms, and it seems like they've got 12 arms on that staff that can all throw 95 and have evil breaking stuff. And they may not be able to do it on the weekend, but they sure as can do it on a Tuesday in Gainesville, in Jacksonville, in Tallahassee. And that was one thing, because you were deficient as a program. But when you catch them and or potentially or maybe passing them for a season or two, you laugh at that notion now. But, before we played them the first time, you thought, well, maybe the ships are passing in the night. Maybe Florida State's, they got a handle on this thing. A lot of kids who were thought to be MLB prospects, they would sign. They're here on campus.
I think they've got some good players. I don't think they're a bad team necessarily. I'm waiting to see how the year plays out and who emerges as a consistent starter in the rotation or another consistent starter in the rotation. I'm not painting the picture that all is lost here, but it is in this rivalry. It is. They have. It's like they have no chance.
No, what I was saying is you laugh at the idea right now maybe that we were passing them as a program and maybe taking the lead.
No. Florida's lost 5 of 6. They just got done losing a game 15-2, 14-4, 5-0. They got housed by Mississippi State and Vanderbilt. It seems like everybody else who plays Florida has a real good handle on how to beat them.
Exactly. So now it's its own thing this year in a special way because you have control of 2 games, albeit a 1-run lead in one of them. So it's not quite the same thing.
It's not
as 6-0 after hitting a grand slam and delivering what seemed to be a decisive blow. But it's still 2 leads you had, one of which was late. And if you look at the box score last night and you see no earned runs against 4 total runs scored,
that'll hurt your feelings.
That's a much different way of losing a ball game than the first one we lost. The only common thread, errors, starting or prolonging rallies. And what does that mean? That means that now it is different. Whether or not that coaching staff or that clubhouse wants to admit it, it is different. Because a ground ball to third base is not a ground ball to third base on a Tuesday against Florida. It's not the same thing.
You go back, there are a lot of these moments in this stretch of losses. And I think the weird thing is, it's, again, I mean, in all 10 losses, not in all 10 losses. Some of the games, as you noted, Florida was just a better team with more firepower, and they won the game straight up. But there are a lot of instances in which Florida State has had either a real good chance or was, in fact, in control of the game. And couldn't find a way to end it. You've had these moments where you got off to a great start and you thought, okay, that's what was needed here. You get off to this good start. You put the bad thoughts behind you. These previous 2 games we haven't played well. Now we're out to a 2-0 lead. Oh, now we're out 3-1, or and guys look relaxed. And then it hasn't mattered. It hasn't mattered because we have found a way, usually through horrendous defense, to let Florida back into it and have a big inning, which oftentimes has led to the loss. It's
nearly impossible to allow a 1-game island series, if you will, to build up into something like this. If it's you play them and you lose to them in the season, and then you fortify that with regional losses or super regional losses, as we did see about, 4 or 5 years ago, where one of the years we were completely outmatched. The other one, it was toe-to-toe. That was when Carlton threw the good game in game 2.
He came out there and dealt in a way that he hadn't really done all year long. And
that's probably the best moment for Florida State against Florida. It's better than the bat flip. It's better than it. Because it was in their ballpark.
Yeah, you put them on edge, yeah.
But, I mean, really, when you can count on 2 fingers, the amount of times that you have really moments that you can pound your chest about a rivalry in 5 years or so. Now, and the rivalry is largely built up. These wins and losses are largely amassed by playing 1 time in 1 week. That's really hard in baseball to do, to stack those together like this, because you think the probability resets. But we are moving the scales. We're putting our finger on the scales and hurting ourselves.
Yeah, no, I do think that's where you see the evidence that it's something more. I mean, that the game, if it's just playing out according to the statistics and the relative skill of each team, Florida State should have won by now several of these games. Maybe you would be down through 10 games, 7-3, 6-4. Certainly not 10-0. But, in 5 of the 10 losses, you've committed over 12 errors total. I mean, picking up the ball matters, man.
Well, especially this year. Yeah, that's what this year is about.
Pick up the ball.
You had a 996 or whatever it was before the first one.
Highest fielding percentage in the country before you blew that. And then it's been a steady
like 915 now. I know that's
no, it's better than that, Tom, but maybe not for much longer, but it is right now. Yay! And when I'm standing.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
The FSU Autism Institute on Sunday, April the 7th from 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. for their 3rd annual Kickin' It for Autism Soccer Clinic in partnership with the FSU soccer team and coaches. This is an event for all ages and abilities. Net proceeds from this event will benefit the FSU Autism Institute. For more information, please visit fsucard.com.
Cigars of Tally congratulates the men's basketball team on making it to the round of 16. Cigars of Tally Lounge and Bar. New location at 926 North Monroe. Opening April 4th. Go Knowles!
Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram is the Jeep headquarters of America. We've purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived or are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120. On sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and only can be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. Going on right now during Jeep Freedom Days. Only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. ST18J605 must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Live life. Head on. Take every shot. And when it comes to tax season, go for the win with Liberty Tax. Because while you do life, we do taxes. Bounce into a Liberty Tax by February 16th and we'll give you $50 cash for filing with us. Send in a friend, and when they complete their return, we'll give you another $50. Stop by today or visit LibertyTax.com. Liberty Tax. You do life, we do taxes.
Located at 2210 North Monroe Street next to Chick-fil-A. Call 597-8248.
Let's have a chat about your debit card. The card you use for the things you buy every day. What if you could get cash back every time you bought those things? Well, now you can. Introducing Discover Cashback Debit. Just open a Discover bank account and start earning 1% cash back on up to $3,000 in debit card purchases every month, automatically. Plus, there are no monthly fees or minimum balances. Now you can get cash back on the way you like to pay. Open a Discover bank account and get the debit card with cash back. Go to discoverbank.com/debit. Limitations apply. Excludes money market accounts. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Change your oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles for a longer-lasting engine and better gas mileage. Change your oil at Superlube today, and for a limited time, you'll get a free car wash. Right now at Superlube, you never need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area locations, there's a Superlube just minutes away right now.
Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car. Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Jeff Doxey, representing Premier Fine Homes. I'm proud to announce Premier's newest community, Brookside Village. Brookside has the great schools you want, some larger home sites, and is conveniently located on Ox Bottom Road between Ox Bottom Manor and Moore Pond. Call or text me today at 545-4747 or email me at jeffdoxey1@gmail.com. Remember, before you buy, try me at Brookside.
Hendrick. Find new roads at the first annual Dale Earnhardt Jr. Race to 500. Shop our huge selection and get the biggest savings of the year. Everyone wins. Visit either of our 2 Tallahassee locations or DaleEarnhardtJr.Chevy.com.
Join the FSU Autism Institute on Sunday, April 7th from 1 to 4:30 p.m. for their 3rd annual Kicking It for Autism Soccer Clinic in partnership with the FSU soccer team and coaches. This is an event for all ages and abilities. Net proceeds from this event will benefit the FSU Autism Institute. For more information, please visit FSUcard.com. 97.9 ESPN Radio is a proud partner of the Kicking It for Autism Soccer Clinic.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jim writes, at Jay Cameron Show, at _Tom Lang. Have you watched any NIT games? Just wondering what you think about the experimental rules they've put into place. No, Jim. My team is in the Sweet 16. I have not been able to tune in to the NIT to watch those. Unfortunate enough to have been visited by the Ding Ding. But I'm sure it's been enthralling. No. What are they doing in the NIT that I don't know about? Something that I'm most assuredly should be paying attention to just as a sports fan, and I'm not Jim, you're not wrong for asking the question. I'm not saying anything bad, but when my team is in the tournament annually and making runs deep into said tournament, I get distracted by that, and I don't find the time to cut on over to the NIT.
Now, I did hear one thing about the NIT, which is through the first however many games played, it was way more exciting than this year's NCAA tournament because
it's not possible. Those games don't matter.
Well, the games in terms of how close they are, the finish, the final 2 minutes.
Perhaps that's true.
I get your dismissive nature, but
they
we're
are
just talking
exhibition
about
games after all.
competitive games, and there has been a bit of a letdown this year after last year's NCAA tournament, which March Madness 2018 was fantastic. I think sometimes people they conflate an upset with awesomeness, and that's not always the case. You want close games. And some years you get upsets, but they're not. Like, for example, 16-1 is a cool event, but that game wasn't close or compelling. It was over around halftime.
Yeah.
UMBC over Virginia. But close games going one way or the other, I think, are the draw to March Madness. It's about that inbound. It's about that play when we were at Bumpus last Thursday, and we're watching the Auburn New Mexico State
game. No,
and the kid's got a clear path to the basket for the tie, kicks it out. The kid gets fouled for 3, so he goes to the line for a chance to win. He makes 1, but they get the ball back. That's what people love about the madness.
I love that, too. I just don't know about the NIT. I don't know what's going on.
Apparently, they had some good finishes.
Some of those guys. I just don't know, Tom. I haven't been able to see those classic endings in the NIT. Yeah, I agree. That's what people love. And, by the way, as I have repeatedly reminded us all, revel in this. Revel in this, because oftentimes you're sitting around watching the tournament, or I shouldn't say oftentimes, not these days. But in the past, when we weren't very good at basketball, you were sitting around just hoping to find one of those endings that involve two teams that you don't care anything about, at least playing out in some thrilling fashion that allowed for drama and competition at its best that, again, didn't involve your team.
So, that was my long way of saying I haven't watched the NIT either. But here are the rules changes that they're experimenting with. And the three-point line is extended by approximately 1 foot 8 inches to the same distance.
I like the idea of it, by the way, yes.
Used by FIBA, which is good, yes, because, I don't know that Vermont would hit, maybe, they were hitting 30-footers. It didn't really matter that day. But you're trying to weed out average, right? And reward somebody for a three-pointer.
Yes.
So they're trying to be the same as FIBA, the
consequences for taking those shots that are of a higher degree of difficulty, and also rewards, yes.
They also widen the lane. The free throw lane was widened from 12 feet to 16 feet, so it would be consistent with the width used by the NBA. I imagine scouts have been begging for that for years.
Yeah.
So
well, and with the size of the combatants, Tom, that's, yes.
And, yes. And if Zion's going to be a freshman in college, then we probably need to widen the lane.
Yeah.
The shot clock resets to 20 seconds after an offensive rebound instead of the full 30 seconds. Creates more possessions.
Mm-hmm.
I got no problem with that. We like possessions at Florida State now.
Yeah, we do. Let's go. Keep it going.
And this one is a little bit convoluted, but team fouls reset at the 10-minute mark of each half for the bonus. So the way it works is teams shoot 2 bonus free throws after the 5th team foul of each 10-minute segment. So 5 fouls within a 10-minute period of time, you shoot a bonus. You can shoot a 2-foul shot bonus at 11:52.
Yeah, right.
And then it resets to 0 at 9:59.
I don't know if I like that.
It sounds like a pseudo quarter test to me.
Yes, it does. Yeah, no, good point. It does sound like a pseudo quarter test there. Yeah. Maybe. Well, I like everyone you mentioned. I need to think about that one, but everyone you mentioned prior, I'm fine with. And seems to make sense.
So we didn't have to watch the NIT to learn about that.
No, just read it.
Just go find the release from the NCAA.
Don't get bogged down with watching the NIT. Just read it. Speaking of rules changes, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, standing with other league executives in front of a backdrop emblazoned with the league's new 100th anniversary logo, announced yesterday that the league would allow pass interference to be reviewed. Of course, this is on the heels of the abomination in the Rams-Saints game, in which that ref was hell-bent on not deciding the game to the point where he was going to ignore any infraction, no matter how egregious, quite clearly. And they are now going to be able to, I guess, buzz down and say, hey, guys, really, honestly, that is not going to get it done. We're going to need to take a closer look at this one, because I think it's pretty apparent you guys have just botched this to all hell. Replay isn't intended to re-officiate calls on the field, but instead correct clear and obvious mistakes, quote unquote. That wording, by the way, matters. I am glad that it's not intended to re-officiate calls on the field. We do not need to be reviewing calls on the field or add to the number of calls on the field that we're reviewing, and reviewing an official's initial call over and over again would serve to lengthen and also lead to less action in a game like replay already does, and I don't need more of that. But egregious missteps like the one we had in the NFC Championship game, yeah, they had to be sure that was never going to happen again. I agree with others that would say that can't happen. That can happen. And I'm reminded, I believe it was the Steelers and the Houston Oilers back in the day, in which there's a call as to a player being out of bounds in a playoff game, and he's, 5 yards inbounds. And you would have wanted somebody in that case to be able to go, no, that's a touchdown. That is a touchdown.
It was Pittsburgh, wasn't it?
Yeah, Pittsburgh and Houston back in the day, And it was
in Pittsburgh.
No, I think it was in Houston. The Oilers, the old Oilers.
They hosted that game? Okay.
I think so. I vaguely remember seeing artificial turf in which it was, double check. That game is famous for a play like that, and there have been others.
It's the back right of the end zone.
Yeah,
I just remember watching, and I brought it up on these airwaves during the NFL playoffs. I said, do you remember that? Because that's ridiculous. I'd never seen it before.
That happened when I was a kid. I don't have.
His knee was down, man.
There's a lot of, there's knees down. There's another play in league history where a guy's 2 feet are in by, it's.
That's like there's a Florida State game where there's the famous photo of the knee down. And
it's all-time great. So anyhow, they're going to correct that. They're going to do that. But now here's the other part of all of this. They've added another rule that I wondered how long it would take. I actually used to think years ago that they would find a way to eliminate blindside blocks. And it was the hit I most enjoyed delivering, and it's the hit that everybody who's ever played least liked and knew was a part of the game. And I've been on the receiving end of those blindside blocks, and I've been the one to deliver, and they are brutal. And they're brutal when you're about to deliver it, and you know it. You know this poor bastard is just helpless. And then if you're on the wrong end of one, I can remember a couple specifically in which all I remember was the sound, and then literally feeling like it was slow motion as I saw my feet way up in the air and my head tilted back, and I was flying into a bench. But those peel-back blocks, you've got no chance. You've got no chance. And if we're in the era of player protection, I thought, surely this is coming. I figured sooner rather than later. It's now a 15-yard penalty if a player initiates a block in which he is moving towards or parallel to his own inline and makes forcible contact to his opponent with his helmet, forearm, or shoulder. The previous blindside block rule was legal unless the blocker was contacted in the head. So you were allowed to peel back, if you will. A receiver, let's say an example of this, Tom, would be a receiver on a route going downfield. Something is thrown underneath, and then he comes back on the play. A defender is in pursuit. Mm-hmm. He has no way of knowing that the area in which was cleared out by the receiver is now occupied, and he's come back.
By a receiver coming crashing down. And here comes Anquan Bolden.
Happens a lot on special teams, by the way. Special teams, you would see this. Guys got set up to be depleted in a way that was unholy. And special teams has largely been eliminated, kickoffs that is to say, and many of the ways that they made the game unsafe with the wedge and those kinds of things have already been outlawed as well. So this was always going to happen. They've made the kickoff changes permanent as well. It had to happen, I think, in due time. This one doesn't bother me as much because most of the rules changes have served to benefit offensive players time and again. This benefits defensive players. So for once, the defense is helped out a little bit here. Is it the softening of the game? Yes, it is the continued softening of the game, and I have thoughts on that too because the game's not meant to be played by everybody.
There's one thing that has nothing to do with the NFL, but if you haven't seen it yet, check out, you want to talk about a game that's still hardened in moments. Montreal, Florida last night, there was a fight, and it ended quickly, and it wasn't pretty.
I'm going to watch it right now.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Shop online at jerrycigarshop.com.
Protect your homes, family, and businesses with security and storm protection window film from Truck and Car Concepts.
Hi, I'm Joe Doty. We have over 18 years experience in protecting against Mother Nature. Our security film is resistant to strong winds and broken glass. It also provides an invisible barrier to smash and grab thieves and intruders.
Protect your family with the best from Truck and Car Concepts. 1 block east of Weems Road on Mahan Drive. Call 656-8800. Mention this ad and save 10% off your purchase.
Hendrick. It's the one race that everyone wins. The first annual Dale Earnhardt Jr. Race to 500. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC has to sell 500 cars now through April 30th. So start your engines, the gas, and save big. Shop our huge selection of Buick and GMC cars, trucks, and SUVs, and get the biggest savings of the year. Join the race that everyone wins. Visit either of our 2 Tallahassee locations or Dale Earnhardt Jr. BuickGMC.com. We are professional grade.
Hi, Chris Kraft for the all-new Infinity of Tallahassee, the newest Kraft Brothers dealership. As we get ready to break ground on the new Kraft Infinity store, Peter and I thought, why not have a founding 50 with lots of cool stuff for 50 special buyers? And when we say special benefits, we mean it. Here's just some of what you'll get. Free lifetime oil changes, free lifetime powertrain warranty, and free gas fill-up with factory scheduled maintenance. I told you this was special, and there's more. Free car wash and loaner cars, a gold license plate frame, and a commemorative brick at our new store. Plus, my favorite, the white glove treatment with front-of-the-line service priority. It's Tallahassee's first truly VIP car buying and servicing experience. So if you're in the market for a luxury vehicle, you need to look at Infinity of Tallahassee. Seriously, no haggle pricing, and every time you come in for factory scheduled maintenance, we change your oil for free, wash your car, and even fill it up with gas. It's Infinity of Tallahassee's founding 50, so prepare to be pampered. Infinity of Tallahassee, 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast, next to Ted's Montana Grill.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
No heating and air conditioning, keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
You can now quickly and easily schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. This winter, take advantage of great rebates and 0% financing for 36 months. Learn more online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 057652.
Barry heating and air conditioning.
Cabo's Island Grill and Bar salutes the men's basketball team for making the round of 16. Cabo's Island Grill and Bar, 1221 Appalachie Parkway, and online at cabosgrill.com. Go Noles!
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. After 11 years in the NFL, the first 10 with the Green Bay Packers, wideout Jordy Nelson is retiring. Nelson was cut by the Raiders 2 weeks ago. He played on the Super Bowl 45 championship team in Green Bay. After a controversial non-call in the NFC Championship game, pass interference penalties will now be reviewable next season on a one-year trial basis. ESPN's Teddy Bruschi.
They had to do something so that could never happen again, because that was something that, everyone was right in terms of having the outrage about that call that flag should have been thrown. So thinking about the penalty, which is pass interference, when the calls and non-calls, this is a penalty that can span as long as where it's a spot foul. It can be 40, it can be 50 yards, it can be 60 yards, however a quarterback can throw it and where that penalty occurs. I think that type of call with that type of effect on a game, calls and non-calls, I think it's the right thing to do.
Teddy Bruschi on Golick and Wingo. USA Today Sports is reporting the new Alliance of American Football is in danger of folding unless they get help from the NFL Players Association. Tom Dundon, the majority owner of the AAF, says the NFLPA so far is not allowing the league to use young NFL players to further their development. Bucks rookie guard Dante DiVincenzo will miss the rest of the NBA season with bursitis in his right foot. DiVincenzo was the MVP of last year's Final Four with Villanova. The student section entrance at Purdue's Ross-Ade Stadium will soon have a memorial gate honoring the memory of Tyler Trent. Trent was a Purdue superfan and cancer activist who died on New Year's Day at age 20.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Balls McWednesday, brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. It is odd to be in the midst of spring football and not be talking about it. So maybe we should. I am told, and that's all I can say about that, I am told that Dante Lucas has looked very good. The offensive line looks better. We can stop there, Tom. We can stop right there. That is something to behold. That is the only thing anybody cares about. I would say anything I say after that matters not, right? That the offensive line is performing much better than at any point last year. Of course, you would say, sarcastically and understandably, well, I would hope it wouldn't be possible to play worse than they did a year ago. But that doesn't mean you can't get excited about progress. Doesn't mean that you can't say that it's not a good thing that guys have come in here and begun to play better. That the emergence, for example, of a couple of players that maybe you had lost hope in or that you needed to see get better, like Bavion Johnson or Brady Scott or something. I use him as a guy that has been cited routinely this spring football as being a much better fit than he was a year ago.
Maybe.
And you just click pins and stare at the sheet, right? You're just taking notes.
Where's my clipboard? I need my clipboard.
Well, honestly, when I'm asked about it, and I'm able to glean some information as to what's going on because none of us are allowed to watch the practices, so you just have to ask your sources and hope that they're accurate. You can obviously, with minimal amounts of footage that you might be able to get that Aslan or somebody shoots over there, you might be able to see a few things as to athleticism. But, again, that doesn't really necessarily speak to how they're playing the game. But you have to hope for a couple of things. You have to hope that you're steadily seeing progress on the offensive line, and that that Bavion Johnson or that Landon Dickerson is looking more mobile and getting healthier and being a part of that offensive line and not sitting out the spring but getting stronger. That Scott and guys like that are emerging and proving that they are getting bigger and stronger and better and under the new tutelage of Randy Clements. These are things that, yes, you'll take note of and you want to hear about. And the other thing would be linebackers. Your linebackers have to be so much better than they've been. We've been a disaster at the position. And so right off the bat, when you hear that Nazrul Dean's a great fit there, that makes sense, right? That absolutely makes sense. And you're excited about that. And you've got different groups working there to improve that situation. And that's a situation that needs desperate attention because we were bad at that position and got exposed accordingly. So those are the two things. When you tell me about skill position players, our receivers, our running backs, or even to some extent defensive backs who played poorly a year ago, when you tell me that they're athletic and that they're fast and that they look better than they did a year ago, I'm not buying it until we get into a game. I don't. That's not something I'm going to really even care to hear. Great. But I didn't doubt our skill at that position. I doubted aspects of the coaching, and I doubted our ability to execute, and I doubted our ability to obviously spread the football around to those players because we couldn't block it up. So tell me about my linebackers and tell me about my offensive line, and if the news that has sprung up to this point is that they are appreciably better than they were a year ago, according to those that are watching the practices, I'll take that, note it, hope like hell that's accurate, and move on. It beats the alternative. I didn't want to hear from insiders, hey, man, they still got real problems blocking this thing up, or we still look really bad at linebacker. This beats the alternative. Let's put it that way.
You're not taking it to the bank.
No.
That's the thing, is you'll file it away and say, all right, well, let's check this against what we see in the spring game. If you've got a healthy enough, well, if you've got two O-lines, right?
Yeah.
We've had a hard time doing that the last 4 or 5 years of putting a couple O-lines out there, and last year the talking point was, and I think it was true, when you have the same core 3 or 4 playing all-time O-line, that's just ridiculous. You got no chance. But one thing that we ignored from the spring game last year that we did bring up that Monday, and I remember doing that because I watched the game coming back from Dallas. I was out of town as everybody was enjoying this phenomenon that was a spring game event.
What a phenomenon it was.
If the quarterbacks were live, they would have been killed in that game. I mean, there was a lot of razzle-dazzle, and it was all fun, but if the quarterbacks were live, they were dead. Quick. They wouldn't be live for long. So the question this year is, all right, if the offensive line is better, can we actually see it in any appreciable way? And if there are plays made in the spring game a week from Saturday, that's right, it's nearly upon us. The spring game is a week from Saturday. Will it be because the referees are allowing play to continue, or is it because the quarterback actually has time, a pocket to throw the football?
The only thing I will say, Tom, is where I tend to lend some credence to the idea that they are getting better, that there are significant advances, and I do think they're going to be a better football team than last, and I think for a myriad of reasons. But you and I both agree that the Dugans hire was a good hire. I mean, I think Ron Dugans is a good coach and a well-thought-of coach, and I would suspect that he's making progress with the younger receivers. We already knew we had a couple that we really liked. Tamorian Terry is a stud. You already know that. But if Warren Thompson is described as having improved a lot this spring, you'd say, okay, I could see that, right? I could see the impact of a Ron Dugans on that entire segment. Randy Clements, extremely well thought of, and again, a guy that you might say you believe has a chance to make a real impact on this offensive line, and certainly reaching them and improving not just the segment but individuals, the psyche, those sorts of things. I think that's probably happening. Yes,
I think there are years, and I understand the frustration of the people who have to cover the team on a daily basis.
Very frustrating, I'm sure.
I understand the idea that if you might be one of those, you might call the way things are covered state-sponsored.
Yeah,
I get it. But you know what? I do think, largely speaking, the fan base is okay. If Clemens and Bryles want to go to work and they want to do their little 5-minute Chairman Mao hit with Seminoles.com and that's it, and they're going to go to work until you see them in the spring game, I think most fans are like, yeah, that's fine. I don't need to hear 85 million reasons that we're going to be better because it's all lip service. I just want to see results. And I'm not really sure how many results I can see in the spring game. So if you guys want to work on your own and lock it down and not talk to us, that's fine. I'm going to trust you're doing your job because you don't want this to be a blemish on your resume. So go to work.
most people, almost 100% of the people that heard you say that and have heard us say that in some form, I would think 100% agree. They probably feel as if they were sold a bag of goods and they are embittered. I mean, that's not going to change. This is what we come back to time and again when we have the larger conversation about Florida State football. It stinks that it's being largely ignored right now, but at least it's being ignored for a good reason in the sense that the basketball team is capturing all the attention.
But it wants to be ignored.
And I was going to get to that part of it. They have chosen to lock it down because they understand now is not the time for words. Now is not the time to tell people or try to sell people on how great the football team is. You simply can't do it off of a 5-7 season, unless we forget they lost 6 games the year before under Jimbo Fisher. So this program has sucked for over 2 years. They were average the year before that. So we're going on over 3 years of not being a team of significance in the conference. Nobody wants to hear about how great things are and how great things are going. They're not going well until you show me on a football field against an opponent that they're going well. That's what that's going to be. Real quick, before we go to break, you guys know I started in at Orange Theory. I love going to Orange Theory. That part is still true. I had to take a week off. And, Tom, this is, I got to tell you, a mindset that I didn't think I'd have. I had to take a week off because I got sick. And I'm still lingering sickness, and it's frustrating and all of that. But the days I missed, well, other than the days I was literally laying in bed, I missed going, and my body was telling me we needed to go. And I've never really experienced that before because I've never really been in decent cardiovascular strength, nor had these very specific goals in terms of a base pace or a push pace or how long I could run for how many minutes straight at a certain rate. And obviously, I'm just looking, I pull it up here on my Orange Theory app. I'm looking at my last workout, and I'm looking at the upcoming workouts, my last class. 19 splat points doesn't mean anything to you, but perhaps 968 calories does in 1 hour. Just like that. You just need an hour, and they have trainers that are committed, and you feel like you're part of a team, and I can't say that enough. You don't feel like you're an individual worried about what other people are looking at or doing or how much better or more in shape they are than you or how far you have to go. You feel encouraged by their presence as part of that group and the very specific training methods that they use. And science is a big, big part of this. That's how you know it works. It's not an opinion. It's not my opinion. They use science-based exercise physiology, and that makes all the difference because you can see the difference right after you're done. It comes onto your phone, onto your app. You know exactly how much progress you've made since you've started. If you want to learn more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Time to make this real.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
For $339 a month total payment. That's $339 per month with no money down. Your payment includes tax. This is a true sign and drive. Leave your checkbook at home. All you need is your pen, and you drive home in a new 2019 Altima for $339. And we even make your first payment. Don't want a lease? Prices start at just $19,995, and you get 0% interest. It's Nissan's March corporate year-end at Kraft Nissan, and we're all about Altima. With $5,000 off all Altimas, and you get 0% interest. You get both. Kraft Nissan on Mayhan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Prices include dealer preparation charge, $339 payment for 36 months through NMAC with approved credit.
The Jeff Cameron Show podcast, available on demand at ESPNTallahassee.com and on iTunes today. The Jeff Cameron Show podcast is brought to you by Garnet and Gold of Tallahassee. When you buy FSU apparel, support local business. GarnetandGold.com.
Seminoles, it's 2019 and a new football season is amongst us. It's a new day, and we have an opportunity to build this program back to where it belongs, together. Every day we get one step faster, one rep stronger. The journey to the top includes you. We are one tribe together, and we remain unconquered. We need you in Doak Campbell Stadium this fall, and that begins by getting season tickets now. Visit us online at Seminoles.com or call 1-888-FSU-NOLE and get ready to hear
Touchdown, Florida State!
Very soon.
Wahoo Seafood Grill, Tallahassee's leader in fresh seafood, is located right behind the Best Western on North Monroe. Lunch specials start at $7.99. Be sure to try their award-winning house-made burger. Big lunch parties are also welcome. Wahoo Seafood Grill makes lunch specials a very affordable choice. Delivery is available and plenty of parking. Wahoo Seafood Grill, easy access from any part of town using I-10. Visit them online at wahooseafoodgrill.com or call them today at 850-629-4059.
Hey, I'm Jeff Doxey, Realtor for Capital Property Consultants, representing Premier Fine Homes. If you're thinking of owning your own brand new Premier home, call or text me at 850-545-4747 or email me, jeffdoxey1@gmail.com. You say where, I'll be there. Your Canopy Connection.
Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
Hendrick. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC has to sell 500 cars now through April 30th. Shop our huge selection and get the biggest savings of the year. Everyone wins. Visit Dale Earnhardt Jr. BuickGMC.com. We are professional grade.
Change your oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles for a longer-lasting engine and better gas mileage. Change your oil at Superlube today, and for a limited time, you'll get a free car wash. Right now at Superlube, you never need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area locations, there's a Superlube just minutes away right now.
Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car. Yes, sir.
The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
Florida State soccer coach Mark Krikorian going to join us on the program, chat a little bit about that great program, but also a great event coming up, Kicking It for Autism. Soccer clinic with FSU soccer team, players, coaches, and all the good stuff in between. A opportunity to support a really good cause. You're supporting FSU Card and promoting autism awareness and welcoming in all athletes to participate. So it's not just kids that are suffering from autism, for example. It's kids of varying skill sets and ages and all of that, and some that are afflicted, some that are not.
And if you want to learn from national champions, this is your chance to learn from national champions.
Pretty damn awesome to say aloud, isn't it? Short segment here. I can't really break into anything else other than the celebration of
dance. Break into a dance.
I could do that. Another reminder, and I'll give you another one at the start of the next hour, just that we're going to be at Corner Pocket Bar and Grill tomorrow.
It's a 1 o'clock show, people. 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
I look very much forward to that because we're previewing a game we care very deeply about and that I grow more nervous about each second that goes by.
So I have to go by and test to make sure everything's good overnight. It is, knock on wood, always over there. But I've got to angle our setup for tomorrow, buddy, so we can take in the Vegas wall just like our compatriots. Right? I mean, we don't want to be facing out from the Vegas wall.
Well, that might serve as a distraction with all that baseball. I don't know. We could just make it till 3 o'clock and buck up.
Well, I think I will know when the Mets do something good.
There are plenty of Mets fans there.
If
I know who they are.
Our Mets listener brethren are coming, I think I'll know if something good or bad happens.
Fair enough, sir. Fair enough. Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Soccer Clinic.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Hobbit American Grill, voted 2018's home for the best wings in Tallahassee, is celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. March is here, and it is mad. The Hobbit American Grill gives you a chance to win big with Hobbit March Bracketology. There are 2 ways to play for your chance at a $50 gift card. Join the online challenge by visiting Hobbit West Facebook page or play in person during every tournament game. Stop into your local Hobbit American Grill today to play. For locations, hours, and online ordering, head to myhobbitonline.com today.
Yuengling Golden Pilsner, a highly sessionable beer, golden in both name and color. Yuengling Golden Pilsner is the perfect balance of hop and malt character for crisp and smooth thirst-quenching refreshment. Cheer for your garnet and gold with Yuengling Golden Pilsner. Yuengling, brewing good times for 190 years. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Triangle Sales.
Okay, that ought to do it. Thanks, Jessica, for coming over and helping me declutter my home.
You're welcome. That's what friends are for. Ooh, check it out. I found some loose change in this corner.
That is the second time you have found some hidden treasures in my house.
Do you know you can find savings in every corner of your home?
Okay, I'm listening.
You can find savings from the city of Tallahassee. With their 5% interest financing for more than 25 energy-efficient appliances, measures, and systems, you can get a loan for things like outdoor lighting, floor, ceiling, and wall insulation, Energy Star reflective roofing, and even things like gas ranges, fire logs, and grills.
Wait, even on grills? I've been shopping around for a new gas grill. I had no idea, and with it getting even darker, I could use some outdoor lighting. It seems the City of Tallahassee's loan program may be the perfect solution.
Well, just be sure and invite me over the next time you grill.
Of course, that's what friends are for.
Take advantage of the City of Tallahassee's loan program and save energy, water, and money. Visit talgov.com to learn more. That's talgov.com for more information.
The Jeff Cameron Show podcast, available on demand at ESPNTallahassee.com and on iTunes today. The Jeff Cameron Show podcast is brought to you by Garnet and Gold of Tallahassee. When you buy FSU apparel, support local business. GarnetandGold.com.
Hey, this is Jeff Doxey, representing Premier Fine Homes. I'm proud to announce Premier's newest community, Brookside Village. Brookside has the great schools you want, some larger home sites, and is conveniently located on Ox Bottom Road between Ox Bottom Manor and Moore Pond. Call or text me today at 545-4747 or email me at jeffdoxey1@gmail.com. Remember, before you buy, try me at Brookside.
Trey, I can't believe we're sending some lucky fans to your holy grail, the NFL Draft.
Don't believe it. All 3 days of the NFL Draft. Hang with us, meet the NFL Live, College Game Day, and First Take crews, plus a ton more awesome experiences like hanging out with the host of ESPN's draft coverage.
Trey, you're the host of our draft coverage.
Pretty good, ain't it?
Listen to Golick and Wingo weekdays at 6 Eastern now through April 10th for your chance to win with the 2019 ESPN Draft Sweepstakes. Visit ESPNradio.com for official contest rules.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Balls McWednesday, brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it, and a fine Bowlsbick Wednesday to you and yours. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. If you miss anything, all 3 hours get posted on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Thanks for all the great reviews on iTunes. Email us if you like, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at J Cameron Show. The WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. And thanks for watching us there on the Periscope and on YouTube. Appreciate you, YouTubers. Good to see you. Tomorrow is opening day, Major League Baseball. All righty. What a precursor to the Noles and Gonzaga. You've heard me promoting it all day long, but we shall continue because, in theory, folks, your radio audience changes once every 11 to 15 minutes, almost completely, almost 100% new audience. That's what they say. But with shows like this that are wildly popular and the host is able to keep your attention for long periods at a time with insight and humor and the excellence of an executive producer like Tom Lang, well, we might have a new audience once every hour and a half. Hour 40 minutes, Tom. You know, it's amazing. We're able to sustain it.
Yeah, the standard.
Outside, industry norms are what they are, but
industry norms being 20 minutes, but 15, 20. We do much better than that.
We do. That's a good thing.
The numbers bear it out. They just do.
True story. But anyhow, I will tell you about tomorrow at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. We're combining again the start of the Major League Baseball season with our local NCAA tournament coverage. We'll have the games here, and we'll also have the baseball here. It's all good. We've got you coupled up here. So what you'll do is you'll come out to the Corner Pocket after you tell your boss peace at lunchtime. Jim, I'm going to get a Cobb salad, and then I'm on my way over to Corner Pocket. Maybe I'll get food at Corner Pocket. If I don't, I'm going to swing past Bumpus, then I'm going to make my way to Corner Pocket because I'm going to be there for 7 hours. So, I make double down on the sponsors. And then I'll go there, and I'll see Jeff and Tom doing the Jeff Cameron Show / Court Report, Tallahassee Game Day, if you will, from 1 to 3. I'll nibble on my food, I'll drink my beers, and I'll watch live Major League Baseball with the start of a great sport like, baseball. And then that will be the build-up to tip-off Florida State Gonzaga, and I will watch it there on either the Vegas wall or several of the other televisions that are obviously strategically placed throughout the facility and outside. Yeah.
Dozens of TVs.
So you have a day for the ages tomorrow, and we're looking forward to it. But we'll be there 1 to 3 live, and then from there, and by the way, while that's going on, in honor of Major League Baseball's start to the season, they have offered up $2 beers, $2 hot dogs, apple pie specials all afternoon to boot. That's for the baseball. So it's, you take a half day and you meet us at the CP. And then from there, you've already been informed during the Court Report, which is sponsored by Yuengling Golden Pilsner. Did you know, Tom, that is a highly sessionable beer?
I did know that was a highly sessionable beer.
I'd let you know that. It's also sponsored by Jerry's Cigar Shop and, of course, our friends at the CP. So we'll be there, and we look forward to seeing you there. And I think we all look forward to celebrating a good time of year. Beautiful weather, good people, great sport, and the Noles are certainly a big part of that, which is nice. This would not be as appetizing. This would not wet the whistle, if you will, nearly as much if we were just watching random teams we didn't care about playing in the Sweet 16.
And while it's a wonderful sports day on the calendar, folks, just understand that the Court Report from 1 to 3, that's what we're doing. 3 o'clock, the Braves are on the air, and it's opening day for Braves, Phillies. It's taking place up.
We'll have it right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, yeah.
We're not doing 1 to 6, you know what I'm saying? We're doing 1 to 3, and it's live. So come see us, come hang out, and then when we're done at 3, we're just going to watch the baseball. That's an awesome day.
So, Tom, I think, we can't ignore it. We've touched on it a little bit here and there. We haven't dwelled on it because there's more exciting stuff before us, which is the basketball. But our baseball team played Florida last night, which means our baseball team lost a baseball game. Because when they play Florida, that is exactly what they do. They've now lost 10 straight to Florida. And I think it's interesting because when you get a kind of extraordinary set of circumstances and weird ways to lose games and baseball not being baseball, things becoming outside of those statistical norms, it's hard to be impassioned. I think when you lose, say, 4 of 5, you're more inclined, especially if you have just a ton of errors over a stretch where, it's inexplicable. But you kind of, guys, can we get our head around the game here and get focused and play a clean game? And if they beat us, they beat us. You're inclined to do that if you lose 4 out of 5. But when you lose 10 straight and however many, what's the bulk of it now? 17 of 18 or 18 of 22?
30 of 32. I don't know.
It's something absurd, right? So when you start getting into this place where it's funny in a weird way, in a sad way, I don't even really know anymore. I think apathy has begun to set in, and that's real dangerous. You'd much rather have the anger and vitriol surrounding losses because, A, they're outside of the norm when they start happening to that extent. And that means people are going, hey, let's get it together over there. But the let's get it together over there part of the conversation exited long ago. The assumption you're going to lose to a team that's not very good this year, by the way. Florida just came off of getting housed for 3 games by Vandy. They've lost 5 of 6. Basically, when they play everybody else, they struggle. I mean, they become sexually aroused when the Florida State bus arrives at their stadium. Because or in Jacksonville or anywhere in the state. Why don't we just go on a tour of ass-kickings all over the country where Florida can go ahead and beat us and we'll all giggle about it and move on and say, same old, same old. But that's certainly the case right now because nobody else fears Florida, apparently, not this year, but we can't beat them. And it's the same story time and again. This time around, really good pitching. All the runs for Florida, unearned. That's when apathy sets in. Maybe not for me. Maybe I'm getting a little angry as I talk
I don't
about
think there's apathy on the other end when you're talking about arousal and buses
from
world tours
from their side.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, man. What do you?
Yeah, there it is. Let it out. Just let it out. We'll get through this.
We It's weird, man.
Hey, man, we have 3 fewer losses than they do. They're 17-10. We're 17-7. So I think we're a better club.
No. I think you end up playing out the string, and it's just a sad way for a guy who's a legend to have his career end. Is he going to leave here having lost 11 straight to Florida? I think the answer is yes. I don't think we win that game here. Can you imagine the pressure those kids are going to be under when they take the field at Dick Howser Stadium against Florida, trying to win 1 time in 11 attempts so that this guy doesn't leave after that
So 11
career,
doesn't lose 11 in a row to
end
Florida?
his career at Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that. They can't handle the pressure of a random one-off exhibition game against them in Jacksonville. They can't handle the pressure of a 6-run lead in the middle innings. How are they going to handle that?
Well, listen, things were more dire a couple of years ago. And obviously, this series was much the same, but things were more dire in the overall record and what we had done to, middle of April when they were holding 5 a.m. practices. I forget the timestamp of exactly when.
It was the Virginia Tech series when they started holding 5 a.m. practices.
So things have been worse here in recent years, and they rebounded in that season. I'm not saying that they most certainly will rebound this season, but I am offering up that it's a midweek loss. And while it's very annoying that we're losing always to our rival, if we handle our business in the ACC, win 40 games like we always do, then we will have a fighting chance in the postseason to get it done. The problem is, right now, where is our starting pitching in general on the weekend? And if we get some answers there, we'll be in better position to feel okay about ourselves in May. But when you're talking in a vacuum about Florida State, yeah, I'm with you. I get that angry sentiment. But if you're looking at the 2019 season, playing out the string, I don't know that you're playing out the string if you handle business in the ACC, win 40 games, and put yourself in a position to host a regional.
So hope like hell you host that regional and it doesn't involve Florida in any way.
Florida's bad enough this year that it might.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this, too. I mean, it used to be a big deal during the regular season to win enough games to host a regional because you weren't going to lose at home. Well, we do all the time. We just did last year.
So you're done.
I'm disappointed.
You've been a staunch defender, but it sounds like you're done. Now you're just like, all right, play out the string. We're done with it. Let's go.
Well, it's not a matter of being done. It's not my say. The man has decided to walk away from the game, and he's had an incredible career, one that I don't know that we'll fully appreciate until some years go by, some years removed from it. I think it's a shame that the apathy and frustration. So the two aren't the same, obviously. So they can't. I think the community. I'm speaking for the community when I talk about the apathy. I'll never be apathetic towards Florida State athletics, any of the sports. I'll always be engaged. Partly because it's my job. Partly because I love sports. Partly because I'm an old. Partly because of a myriad of factors. But we're going to care. But I think by and large, when I talk about that apathy, an example last night, I listened to Eric Llewellyn call the game. So I listened to him call the game because I had to be at my son's baseball game. And so, you know, I'm the idiot because I allowed myself as we got to the, you know,
top of the seventh.
Yeah, there we are.
Up 2-1, big home run from Salvatore.
I'm like, all right, here we go. All right, this is ridiculous. And then we commit the 2 errors, and I had to go walk around the stadium. I had to go walk around the outside of the park there. Just shake my head, and I started laughing a little bit, and that was that. But I think it's a shame because obviously that's no way for 11 to go out, and I do care about his legacy, his career, and all that he's done, and I have immense respect for the man. But I also know that's exactly how he's going out, and I do know that when you talk to people, when you just randomly talk to people about Florida State baseball, they're disinterested. It's flat. It's just it's like you get that fountain soda or something. It's just flat. There's nothing. There's nothing there.
Well, I think there's a crescendo coming for one reason or the other. Obviously, because his season ends, and his last one ends. But I think if you take care of business in the ACC and you find something in that rotation that you can count on week in and week out, a better weekend this past one, but you got to do it for maybe 3 series in a row before you can buy into it. If you can flirt with that 40-win mark in the regular season and then host a regional, I think people will be interested in seeing how the movie ends, as I said last week. But the middle part, especially when it involves playing Florida on a Tuesday, anywhere in the state, can play them on the moon, I think people dread turning that on, be it the radio, ESPN 3, the SEC network. People are like, man, you know what? Text me when they win and get over the hump, and then I'll watch one of those again. Because it's just every way you can imagine over this streak. Bad things have happened. I mean,
I feel bad for the pitchers last night. You combined for 9 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, and 10 strikeouts, and lose a baseball game?
Mm-hmm. Come on. I mean, like the Quincy Neaporte bat flip is like the only good memory we have in this series for
years.
6-7 years? Mm-hmm. And it was a great bat flip, but that bat flip doesn't earn you another 10 wins. It just gets you 1.
It's I'm just not doing a good job, I don't think, of expressing obviously my frustration is made very clear.
You care, but you're getting the sense that people are checked out.
That's exactly right. I think they are completely checked out. Yes, I care, but I think people are completely checked out.
Which makes you more mad than the product on the field.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing. Let me say this. I know I'm not speaking for everybody. There are diehard Florida State fans, passionate diehard Florida State fans that will always care, who are mad today, who were mad last night when they were listening, and each of the last 10 straight losses they've been mad, or what, I got it. So save it. I know there are a few of you out there, but increasingly it is flat. There's not anger. There's not joy. There's just, okay. Well, I'm just kind of ready to move on. A whole lot of we need to reset that. Go ahead and hit the restart button. Computer's being unfair. Time to restart this bad boy, and let's just see what happens here. There's no way that play would have worked in real life. Let's just click that here and move on.
It's 100% fair to say that this has become a thing, and it's really hard for a Tuesday series, a one-off Tuesday that you play 3 times a year, for that to become a thing. But it's become a big deal.
Yeah.
That's hard to do, but we've done it.
Yeah, and also many times in that stretch, Tom, and I think this is the bigger part of it, many times in that stretch, Florida State has held the lead into the middle innings or the later innings, and it's been their own mistakes. It's been errors, a comedy of errors a lot of times. I mean, it's not an error. A lot of times it's a trio of errors. It's 2, 3, 4 situations where you go, oh, my Lord, the train is off the tracks.
My shaky uncle on 17 with a 1-up lead. I'm going to win this match.
Yeah.
I don't need extra holes.
You think?
And I don't have to do anything
And
but
he
make.
knows it,
I
and
could
you
go
know it.
bogey.
Yeah.
He knows it.
Yeah.
Here comes a double.
And he knows
It's
it.
coming,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
See that water along the right side of the fairway?
Don't hit it there.
No, I don't have to say a word about it, but I know it's going in there. I just know it. He's shaky. One up. He's played great. This one's going in the drink. So as long as I stay on dry land, I'm winning this hole. And then if I win this hole,
Then
guess
it's
what
over.
happens on 18?
Yeah, he's going to throw up a 10.
He might not put a score down.
Yeah,
he might concede in the fairway.
He's gonna, two OBs off the tee box. He's just going to turn and shake
We
your
all
hand.
know that guy.
He's just going to shake your hand.
Yeah.
He's like, that's what's happened here.
You're not even happy about winning it, but you're like, okay.
You're like, oh, that's a shame. All right, good try, man. You really hung in there.
You had me again.
You know who wins a lot? Mark Krikorian and the Florida State soccer team, and he'll be joining us down the line here. I'm excited about that. That's next, isn't it? Is he calling in next? We got him next?
We do.
Oh, all right. Well, that Florida State soccer team, they're not worried about it. They beat everybody on a consistent basis. They're the opposite of our baseball
Their
team.
sports
against Florida.
psychology
Man, they are in a good place, and we'll talk to him next.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
All right, let's mix it up. It can't all be about Florida State basketball. It can't all be about the inadequacies of Florida State baseball. It can't be about the indifference towards Florida State football. We got to change it up from time to time and celebrate the consistency of dominance that the Florida State soccer team brings to the table and do so for a good cause. And so we'll do it now as we bring in Mark Krikorian, of course, the head coach there at Florida State. Your success is well known, a couple national championships mixed in there with the – first of all, it's hard for me to realize and wrap my brain around the fact that you've been here, if I remember correctly, since 2005.
Yeah, 14 seasons. It's a long time.
That is remarkable to me. I remember when you were hired. I was actually on the air, and I can certainly remember our early conversations. And you've built a monster, obviously, as I talk about the 2 national championships, but better than that even maybe to some people certainly is a level of consistency that is the envy of most collegiate soccer programs. The College Cup, you're practically there every year, 9 of the 14 years, and 4 appearances in the national championship, winning 2 of those, and 6 league championships. We go on down the list, but you built a monster and you've built sustained success. How did you go about that process? Obviously, it's not the same as a football budget. This is something that you really kind of engineered and built up and now have sustained. Take us through that process, and how do you sustain that?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with having a vision, right? You have to look at what it is, where you're at when you walk in the door, and then set your goals and your aspirations. And for us in the ACC, when we came in here 15 years ago, it was clear that UNC was setting the standard for excellence, and in a lot of ways they kind of paved the way for all of us to take a look and see what excellence was defined as, and their success over the last 30 years is remarkable. But for me and for us, we looked at it and said, okay, well, we don't have to invent it. We just have to figure out how it is that we're going to be able to maintain that level of success, get to the point where we can compete with them and beat those guys, and then we can compete for national championships. And fortunately for us, the cupboard was not bare when I walked in, and we put together a very good staff. And I think that a good part of our success is definitely tied to the fact that we've been able to attract and have very good coaches here that have been able to bring in very good players. And putting all of those pieces together, then when you put in the resources the university has committed, the work that the boosters have done to help us as well. Our crowd is fantastic. So you have the local support. I think basically it's the perfect storm for us. We have an awful lot of elements that are all working in our favor, and I think probably some good leadership from the top, and then with all of the other successes of all the other teams here, it's contagious. We look at the success that our football team has had over the course of time, and baseball with Coach Martin, and the softball team, and you look around everywhere, everyone's winning. So there is this familiarity with being successful, and I think that we have joined right into that.
I'm curious how you went about, I think for people who do pay attention to the program and see the successes and the consistency of that success, obviously this is a real versatile group year in and year out. And we talk about whether it's the production on the field, but certainly in recruiting, you've created sort of an international pipeline. Talk about that process and how you were able to do that. And then now, obviously, that becomes sort of a thing that everybody knows is happening, and this is a destination program, to say the least.
Yeah, it started long before I arrived here at Florida State. So, obviously now I'm more towards the end of my career than the beginning. But, for 30 years I've been recruiting international players, and the best recruiters for us are our former players. So when our kids go back and they get into different national team settings, and there's a talented young player that may have interest in coming to the United States, well, there's no one better to help us in the recruiting process than our former players. And, they know that they had great academic support here. They had support in so many different ways outside of just the classroom, and they developed as soccer players. So I think that over the course of time, the networking piece has become really obvious, and with the success that we've continued to have and the number of players that we've put into the pros, I think that young talented players serious about their studies and wanting to combine the academic and the athletic piece often are finding this a very attractive destination.
Talking to Mark Krikorian, head of soccer, Florida State University head coach, joins us on the Jeff Cameron Show. And we know the work of a coach is never done, but What is the off season like for you now? And in addition to participating in an event like Kicking It for Autism, what kinds of recruiting or training work do you do in the spring and summer months?
Yeah, we've been working at it pretty hard here. The kids got back in January, and we started immediately with some different types of training. And through the course of the spring, we're going to have, I think, 5 or 6 different competitions. We have an upcoming game against a group from Puerto Rico, of all places. And then a few days later, we'll travel over and we'll go and play the Gators at Gainesville. We have a number of our players. We have 3 right now that are in the U23 U.S. national team. We have 3 that are leaving next week to go and play in an event in La Manga, Spain, for their national team. So it's been a bit of a revolving door with different players in and out for national team duty. But we feel as though the players have worked hard and are getting better, and that the product we're going to put on the field next year should be a very good one again.
One would think, last couple of things, you never want to describe it as being a victim of your own success. I know off the air, you and I were just kind of talking about the basketball team and their successes, and they go from being sort of the ones doing the hunting to the ones that are hunted. But once you change the narrative and change expectations and are able to establish a level of excellence, you never want to go back. But there are an entire number of different difficulties that are associated with that. I guess talk to me a little bit about what you've done to be able to sustain that and what that's like now with the target on your back annually.
I don't think that you can get too high and too low. I think that can be something that can become, it's almost torture for you if every win is the national championship and every loss is the end of the world. So for us, we try and take a big picture approach, and what goes on early in our season isn't nearly as relevant as the preparation for the end of the season. And I think last season's probably a great example of it. Over the course of the season, we did have some bumps in the road, but through all of those bumps, we learned, our players learned, and we always hopefully got better from it. And I think at the end of the season, we showed putting together a string of really great results to be able to win the national championships and win the national championship. And I do think that it is often because the consistency we've had is because we're not resting on any one result. That's not the most important thing. And as I said to them in December after we won the national championship, make no mistake, the national championship was won in December, but it was truly won starting last January in the preparation that started in January. So while the game itself is played in December, what you do between January and December dictates whether or not you have a chance to win the national championship. And right now we're in the same mode. We've been through January, February, we're in and completing March, and my hope is that the work that we're doing during this segment is going to help prepare us to be prepared for the fall.
The event is the 3rd annual Kicking It for Autism. It's a soccer clinic, folks, with FSU soccer teams and coaches, and all the proceeds are to benefit the FSU Autism Institute and FSU Center for Autism, also related disabilities. And, Coach, I know you're excited about it. It's Sunday, April the 7th, and I guess is there anything else we should add to it? I'll continue to push the message and get people to understand where they got to go to register and all that good stuff, but anything you want to say about the event itself?
Yeah, I think that anyone in the community wants to come out and be with our team. Our players are all going to be there in the past, and I'm sure again this year we've had members of the football team out there, the basketball teams, men's and women's. We've had all kinds of different athletes out there, and anyone in the community can come out and interact with different athletes out here. And we look at it, and it's a real winner for us and our kids. We get to be out on the field with some really special young people, and some kids are affected with autism. Other kids are typical kids, and they're out there. But Kathy Zenko in the Card Center, and Amy Weatherby and the folks that related to the Card Center here in Tallahassee, they just do a great job for all of the kids affected here. And we couldn't do more. We're happy participants. We're thrilled to partner with them and to join in. And we got all kinds of great sponsors and partners that are jumping in and helping. But anyone in town that wants to be out on the soccer field, getting some instruction from Florida State players and some of the other athletes as well, and have a good time, come and join us.
Coach, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I appreciate you taking the time, and obviously we'll continue to promote this. Be well, good sir. I'll talk to you down the line.
Jeff, you're the best. Thank you, pal.
Thank you. Take care. It's Mark Krikorian. He's the head coach at Florida State University, 2-time national champion. We've talked about the resume before. It's much more than just those national championships. It is a dominance and a sustained dominance that obviously is the envy of most coaches in any program. You're aspiring to get to that level and be able to consistently compete in the College Cup, which Florida State certainly does, giving themselves opportunities year in and year out. But the event, obviously in this case, is April the 7th. That's a Sunday, and it is, again, as he noted, a heck of an event because it's not just players and kids and people of the community suffering from autism. It's really anybody that wants to come out. So it's a nice interaction there. It's at 2:00. It is at it's a soccer clinic, and it's, again, soccer players of all ages and experience. And I would hope that you would go and support that. A couple of things to note here: if you're going to participate and be a part of it, you got to wear athletic shoes and bring a bottle of water. That's it. It's pretty easy. And then also, it's $20 on-site registration. 2 for $30 is a family discount there, so it's pretty inexpensive. And that registration includes you get a T-shirt and you get a prize ticket and refreshments and all that other stuff.
This is a top-flight institution, the FSU Card Institute. And if you wanted to make a donation because you can't make it, perhaps you'll be in Minneapolis that weekend. Who knows? Could be. Maybe the basketball team gives you a reason to go there. You can go to fsucard.com and make a donation to this awesome center that's doing great work.
Yeah, when you hear us talk about the Card Center, it's the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities, FSU Autism Institute. That's what we're talking about. So, yeah, absolutely. Good job adding that on, and good job, Mark Krikorian. Thank you for joining us, as always. More of the Jeff Cameron Show momentarily. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. What a day tomorrow at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Combining the start of Major League Baseball with our local NCAA tournament coverage, of course. You can catch a special live edition of Tallahassee Game Day Court Report live from the Corner Pocket, 1 to 3. There will be, in honor of opening day, $2 beers, hot dogs, apple pie specials all afternoon for the baseball. Take a half day, if you will. Probably a good idea. Hang out with us at the CP. If you don't know where the CP is, Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. It's right next to the Earth Fair. And that's, think about that. That's a good day. That's a good day. With all the baseball that's on, Tallahassee Game Day Court Report is, of course, sponsored by our friends at Yuengling, Golden Pilsner, Jerry's Cigar Shop, and our friends at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. So we'll see you there. Showtime begins at 1 o'clock. Look forward to it. Yay, baseball. You know what that means? Tom, I got to do.
Oh, my
We
God.
We have been caught off guard.
Wait a minute. So it has to be done here, right now, because tomorrow at 1 o'clock it'll be too late?
Yeah, no, it's actually, we don't have to do it this very second because I was caught off guard. Hey, live radio, that's
but that's fine.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that marks the time on the Jeff Cameron Show.
We had no idea. Look at us.
So while you're pulling it up, let me ask you this question.
Yeah. I have the probables before me.
That's fantastic.
Oh,
do I play Summer Wind? I think we wait till at least May.
Yeah, you got to wait till May. What do we usually start? What do we?
I mean, I could break out the biggest part of me if you want me to hit that.
No.
The Summer Breeze?
No, but Summer Breeze is it's the
same concept.
Yeah, same concept.
So
I can't remember what we normally do there, buddy. We could do something as cheesy as Ambrosia. That's How Much I Feel.
Ambrosia?
One of the worst bands ever with a huge hit. You've heard That's How Much I Feel. For people that don't realize, when we do probables, we do them. It's not because we love those songs. It's because sometimes we do, but most of the time.
But I have the biggest part of me by Ambrosia. That's all I got in the system.
No, we're not going to do that. No.
So this year that one's out.
Yeah.
I could do some CCR. I mean, that's usually,
but I love CCR.
But that's good baseball stuff.
Yeah, you could. You could do CCR. Well, hell, if you're going to do that, you could do Fogarty center field. But that's kind of old and tired.
That's old school, though. That's respect. Big ups.
You got to do the right thing there. But I don't know. So you think about it. I don't know. I know that April.
I mean, like, who will stop the rain? What stops the rain? Baseball. That's what stops the rain.
There are rainouts.
No, but it stops. It's the dreary offseason. The rain is not actual physical weather events. It's the dreariness of the offseason.
Well, there's a great line from Eddie Vedder in a Pearl Jam song in which he says, no matter how cold the winter, there's a springtime ahead. The problem is that song is depressing. So you can't use that song or else it would be absolutely perfect. But is there a spring-oriented... You could stay with spring.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, let me pull that up.
There's a
spring. This is so on the fly.
Yeah, there's a
I could pull the White Buffalo song, remember?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay. I like it. All right. Here we go. First of all, let's play the intro. Here we go.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Perfect. Well done. Here we go. Mets Nats 105 Eastern Time at Nationals Park. Jacob deGrom goes for the Mets. I take it the beer.
The newly rich Jacob deGrom.
As he should be. Max Scherzer, who's been rich for a while and also very good, will go for the Nats. We got Orioles-Yankees. Good Lord, that's an exhibition game. Over, under, Oriole wins. 50.
52, Jeff. Over.
What you going with, Matthew? Over?
Over. That was emphatic with the thumbs up.
Tough division. I'm going to give him 55 wins. I'll go over as well.
See the Yankees' first 50, 60 games of their schedule? Super easy. They're going to be 20 games over 500.
Well, that's fine, though. That's good. I want it to be super hard late.
Yeah.
Hey, down. Andrew Kashner goes for the Orioles. Masahiro Tanaka goes for the Yanks. Cardinals, Brewers. Miles Mikolas going for the Cardinals.
Yes.
Chassin going for the Brewers. I always do that because it's Jules, and I don't like to say it. It's weird.
Mikolas getting the opening day nod.
Tough year. I hope. Braves, Phillies. We've got Julio Teheran and Aaron Nola. By the way, that game can be heard right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Right?
Once we're wrapped up at the CP, we will send it to Atlanta Braves baseball live and in living color.
Sorry. Tigers, Blue Jays. Jordan Zimmerman goes for the Tigers. Marcus Stroman
You can
goes
just
for
get
the Blue
it
Jays.
generically now. That's what all the ads say.
Astros, Rays, Justin Verlander, Blake Snell. There you go.
Wow.
That's 4 o'clock.
Okay, well, that will hold our attention after the Mets are 1-0 on this regular season.
Well done right there. We got Cubs, Rangers, John Lester, Mike Minor. We've got Angels, Athletics, Trevor Cahill, Mike Farge. My Buccos travel to Cincinnati. Jamison Tyon going for the Pirates. Luis Castillo going for the Reds. Buccos start 1-0 at Great American Ballpark. They'll hammer the Reds.
Does he have a chopper as one of his pitches, Luis Castillo?
That's funny. Kyle Freeland goes for the Rockies. We got Jose Arena going for the Marlins. Long year in Miami. I think I say that a lot. Feels like we're saying that consistently.
They oversimplify sports pretty well at the Levitard Show, but I have to say last year when they sent Billy and the first pitch was a home run for the Cubs.
Oh, it was beautiful.
That's good radio.
Yeah. Indians, Twins, Corey Kluber, Jose Barrios. We've got the Giants also in store for a very long year. Taking on the newly improved Padres, Madison Bumgarner goes for the Giants. Eric Lauer going for the Padres. He's fun to say. D-backs, damn it, they're going Zach Greinke. No Robbie Ray on opening day. Ryu goes for the Dodgers. White Sox, Royals, Carlos Rodon and Brad Keller. And then the nightcap, Red Sox, Mariners, 7 o'clock, Chris Sale, Marco Gonzalez. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Crank it. Yeah, that's good stuff. That was well done. Don't forget, you just heard us talking to Florida State soccer coach Mark Krikorian about Kicking It for Autism Sunday, April the 7th. And if you would like to register, where are you going? Early bird registration's already gone.
But you can go to fsucard.com at any point, and you'll see the flyer on the front page, plus a sign-up link and a link to donate if you can't make it for this event.
Damn, Skippy, you can. The clinic's from 2 to 3:30. Autographs with teams and coaches from 3:30 to 4 o'clock. Prizes and refreshments from 4 to 4:30. Then we do keg stands. Special addition to this year's Kicking It for Autism. How about that, huh? That'll be a lot of fun.
That last part is not accurate.
I thought that would, no, I added
but
that
it could
to
be at the Cameron household for the after party.
That would be a good damn time right there, huh? All right, guys, you get your autographs and pictures. Keg stands, everybody up. Let's go.
That's right. His address is.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that. All right, so what a day tomorrow is. Woo! I'm nervous. Normally we sign off after probables. We're a little rusty because we got caught off guard. We forgot. That's
it's March.
It's crazy.
Freaking March.
Well, hey, not for much longer, and that's good. But let me say this. I'm nervous. I've been nervous about this game much more than I was about the previous two, although obviously I thought John Morant would have a little something more for us. He played great, but I didn't realize all of the other players on that team are a bunch of stiff losers. So I thought, they'd have at least a secondary player that could make a shot. They did not. So it turned out to be a lot easier than we suspected once we cut off the passing lanes. This is a different deal. Gonzaga has some players. It's not a guy. It is a team, and a good one at that. And so I also feel like if you can get this win, man, we're going to the Final Four. I know the win says we're going to the Elite Eight, but the win says to me we're going to the Final Four because we're better than Michigan and we're better than Texas Tech.
Okay, so there's nothing on the line at all tomorrow night. Nothing at all.
Yeah, this is you and me going to Minneapolis.
Oh, buddy.
And what a time of year
to
go to
book
Minneapolis.
the flight,
be nice.
but you can't book the flight on a Friday. You got to wait. You know what I'm saying?
They do have to win the game.
They got to win the game.
They do have to win the game.
It could be cold from the field in the Elite Eight if they make it through tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, I would just tell you that. I gotta believe that obviously anybody that's left in the tournament is capable of going to the Final Four. They're all good teams. We get that, and so it's not like I say 100% it's set in stone. We win this game, we're going to the Final Four. I get it, but I like our chances a lot if you survive this game. But this game is going to be a war.
It's Pacino and the Devil's Advocate, man. Title fight.
I'm looking at some of the numbers from Gonzaga this year, obviously, and I go through that schedule, and the hardest part for us when you're trying to compare and contrast what they are or are not, they lost to North Carolina back in early December, 103-90. Crazy up and down the floor game right there. A lot of fun. Of course, they on the heels of that, prior to that, I should say they had already beaten Duke in a 2-point win there. But when you look for the other games against elite-level competition, the bulk of their schedule is the likes of Santa Clara, San Francisco, Loyola Marymount, BYU, San Diego, San Francisco again, UT Arlington, Denver, North Alabama, Pacific. I mean,
right. You're
tough.
wondering, how can you develop? That's the challenge for Gonzaga and the conference they play. If you want to be fair to them, how do you develop and get better when your conference doesn't challenge you? So that's the task for Mark Few every single year.
And he does a great job, obviously. And, they just got done dismantling Baylor without a problem. And, they won their opening round game 87-49. And, listen, they're good. We know that. I'm not saying they're not good. It's just when I'm trying to look apples to apples, it is impossible to do it with their schedule. So I know they got good players. Obviously, we've talked about some of them. The Clark kid is really, really good. The Kispert kid is good.
Hashimura, of course, is he'll be the darling too.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm nervous. It's a good feeling.
Well, we're allowed to play the game too early as long as they time release it for 4:09 Pacific time tomorrow.
A buddy of mine texted me this morning, Tom, and got up with a smile, and he was on his way to work, and he said, all I wanted, and it echoed your sentiment, all I wanted was a 4 or 5 day stretch where I could just really, really revel in the idea that we're still playing basketball and everybody else is chilling at the house, and that certainly includes Florida and Miami and so many others that we don't have a lot of love for. And so it's great to be in that position to experience the joy that is the Sweet 16 in back-to-back years. Obviously, the stretch where we were not very good at all and we were not making the tournament, it was hard to see this day from that day. But here it is. And tomorrow we'll be at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and enjoying baseball all day in the build-up to Florida State Gonzaga. Won't you come out and join us? Hopefully you will. Front Row Knowles are up next. Should be a lot of fun. Dan Bonner, Tim Linnefeld, Keith Jones. They're all from the West Coast joining Tom in studio here.
A little live on location from the left coast, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be really sad for me that we weren't on the left coast if I didn't think we were going to be in Minneapolis. But since
you would be there if you thought there was zero chance of going to the 4.
Yeah, I would. Because I try to get to California whenever possible. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a great night.